Okay, so this is basically is a Sikh-centric show. So it's on my channel, which is just to do with the Sikh aspect or the more serious topics. Obviously, my other channel is more for what you might consider tamasha. So yeah, Raj is obviously going to be on good behavior on this channel. Yeah, because obviously we're talking about serious issues. Today's show is going to be a bit of a mix. I'm going to be having a couple of guests, Bibi, Shabad, Priya, Kaur that come on last time. Last time I had a talk with her, but we couldn't. I wanted to expand on a particular subject, which I didn't think we could at that time because it was short of time. So it's going to be about mental illness, how maybe Sikhi can kind of help you through that, and how you can keep a positive mind, which is called Chardi, and we'll go for that concept. Also, obviously, it's the 400th anniversary of Guru Tegh Bahadur and his birth. So I want to just touch upon that. I'll do a proper show at some point, but I just want to kind of go through that because it actually links with positive mind and what you call, my journey and other people's journey, and might kind of like explain a couple of things through his life and stuff like that, how to keep a positive mindset under a lot of, let's just say, kind of oppression or maybe turmoil, and how do you keep yourself positive during that time. So what I'll do is I'm going to spend around 20 minutes going through a bit about Guru Tegh Bahadur. Then I'm going to get Bibi, the Bibi on, hopefully get Flexi on and a couple of other people. I think Hakida Date said he's coming on. I'm going to try and get towards the end, obviously, because he's not Sikh, but Jen Wallace. I think the reason being because the concept of spirituality and meditation is kind of a very specifically to dharmic faith, and I think she might have something to contribute towards the end. So obviously I sound very subdued here. The reason being because it's boiling hot here, and I'm so uncomfortable in this weather. Like it's around 27 degrees, and I know in people in the States that doesn't sound hot, but for me, I hate anything over 23 degrees. Yeah. Very specific number. Over 23, I start getting agitated. And yeah, I'm a little bit, I have to keep myself kind of like, calm. What I'll do is let me just play a video of, thanks Scarlett Fox, Jen Wallace. So obviously, let me send the links out and people will jump on in a bit. What I'll do before that is let me just play a little video of Guru Tegh Bahadur. Actually, I might actually play, just find it. 5 minutes. So let me just send a few links out while I do this. So if you expect, can I just say before I go on here, last time we did the show, there was a lot of trolling in the chat, yeah. So I would expect my what you call anybody that's got a spanner to really keep an eye on the thingy. I'll try my best to keep and hiding them, but last time the haters jumped in and started to ruin the show. And to be honest with you, I actually think some of these haters were probably Sikhs, which is even more disgusting. Because whether you like me or not, if we're talking about Sikh issues, keep your kind of dislike for me out of it and just think about the bigger picture. So hopefully they won't try and do that. It won't derail the show anyway. I just ignore it. Yeah, I'll just keep timing them out and thinking it. So let me just play this first. While I get thinking. So this is just basically Guru Tegh Bahadur. He was the 9th Guru who was, this is 400th anniversary this year in terms of his birth. He was executed by Aurangzeb and yeah, in I think it was 1675 actually. So let me just hold up to double check. I'll just play this for now. Hopefully I don't get it. करनो नित्यावे ताए एक बगातर सिमरिए करनो नित्यावे ताए सब थाई गोए सगाए सब थाई गोए सगाए सब थाई गोए सब ताई गोए सगाए तेग बगादर सिमरिए
करनो नित आवे ताए तेग बहादुर सिमरिए करनो नित आवे ताए प्रथम पतौती सिमर के प्रथम पतौती सिमर के गुरु नानक लई आए गुरु नानक लई आए फिर अंगद गुर ते अमरदास फिर अंगद गुर ते अमरदास रामदास होए सहाय रामदास होए सहाय रामदास होए सहाय रामदास होए सहाय तेग बहादुर सिमरिए करनो नित आवे ताए तेग बहादुर सिमरिए करनो नित आवे ताए अर्जन हर गोबिंद नो अर्जन हर गोबिंद नो सिमरो सिर हर राय सिमरो सिर हर राय सिर हर किस्म ते आइए श्री हरि कृष्ण ते आइए जिस डिठे सब दुख जाए 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 तेग बहादुर सिमरिए करनो नित आवे ताए तेग बहादुर सिमरिए करनो नित आवे ताए तेग बहादुर सिमरिए तेग बहादुर सिमरिए करनो नित आवे ताए करनो नित आवे ताए सब थाई होए सहाय 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 तेग बहादुर सिमरिए करनो नित आवे ताए तेग बहादुर सिमरिए करनो नित आवे ताए तन तन गुरु गोबिंद सिंह जी तन तन गुरु गोबिंद सिंह जी सब थाई होए सहाय सब थाई होए सहाय तेग बहादुर सिमरिए करनो नित आवे ताए तेग बहादुर सिमरिए करना नित्या में ताए तेग बहादुर सिमरिए करना नित्या में ताए तेग बहादुर सिमरिए करना नित्या में ताए
Okay, so I've sent out the links. Let me just find, not those type of links here, not for the thingy, for deodorant. But I'm hoping they'll turn up. I haven't got a response yet, but we'll carry on with the show anyway, because obviously I've got a few things I need to go through first. And before everyone says, Raj, you're so subdued today. Yes, I'm on my best behavior, obviously. Talking about Sikhism and mental illness, so we have to keep it, sensible. So one of the things is what I'm going to try and do is I want to get Bibi on. I'm going to get Flexi. I think Hakir Dates is going to jump on. Get Jen Wallace to jump on as well. Hopefully, if anybody else wants to jump on the show, if they're a Sikh, especially, well, basically Sikhs, yeah. No offense to non-Sikhs. I'm letting Jen Wallace on just because Jen Wallace is a Buddhist, and she's one of the Dharmic, kind of like honorary members now, we say, man, she's fighting for the Dharmic faiths in the chats. She's like a kind of Dharmic queen, like somebody else we could say, the Pentacular. So if anyone else wants to jump on here, you have to email me. I'm not just letting anyone on. Show should go to around 8:30 because I've got to go at 8:30. But I can leave the show running if people are still on there and they want to have a talk, and then I'll let people know. But I'm not just letting anyone on. If you're trying to troll, there's going to be zero trolling toleration here. Want to join Tentacular Artist. Okay. So you put that up. Yeah, bless the Dharmic family. We do have a lot in common in terms of how we kind of like see spirituality and prayers and meditation and things like this and the afterlife, and yeah, so that's kind of the common thing. I think Jen Wallace is actually doing a show tomorrow, so I'll be jumping onto that if it is going on. She wants to advertise it, tell me, and I think so. What I'm going to quickly do before people start jumping on is to go through a bit of the life of Guru Tegh Bahadur, who's the ninth Guru. Yeah. If you're not too clued up about Sikhism, I can't go too much into detail with this one, but we have 10 living, what you call human gurus, who are our spiritual teachers, and then we have the final living guru, who is the Sri Guru Granth Sahib, which is our scriptures, which we have in our temples. Now the thing is with Guru Tegh Bahadur, the reason why this show is kind of what I call connected in terms of mental illness and maybe the kind of life of the gurus is that they had to go through a lot of turmoil and a lot of hardship. And I'm not just talking about little things like you're poor, or you got somebody that's ill in your family. I'm talking about people being executed for their beliefs, and people being persecuted because of their beliefs. And Guru Tegh Bahadur is kind of like the personification of how do you deal with a lot of hardship, and how do you keep yourself positive under duress. And obviously he was executed for his beliefs. Actually, not even for his own beliefs. He was executed for the beliefs of Hindus. So Hinduism was under attack by the Mughals, and obviously we don't want to go into exactly the reason why, but he sacrificed his life as a Sikh in order for the Hindu faith to kind of continue in Kashmir. So here's my drawings that I've done of Guru Tegh Bahadur, and this is one where he's about to be executed and he's meditating. And obviously that's quite important because we're going to go through different ways of kind of dealing with depression and mental health through maybe meditation. I have my own way. I'm lucky that I can draw and stuff like that, and that does help me. Sometimes I meditate when I'm drawing as well, so I've got kind of an outlet which other people don't have, but for me that's kind of a plus point for myself. So with this particular one, I'm just going to quickly just read a bit of Guru Tegh Bahadur's life, just so that while people start jumping on, then we'll kind of move on to Bibi Shabad, Priya Kaur, and we'll kind of talk about her journey because she actually went through a hardship uh, due to a particular situation, and then she found Sikhi, and then that's how she kind of kept herself, mentally kind of like uplifted. Because in Sikhism we have a concept of Chardi, which means keeping yourself positive, your mindset positive, even under extreme pressure and duress and stuff. So. I'll just put this drawing up here and let me just read a bit from Guru Tegh Bahadur. So Guru Tegh Bahadur was born on Wednesday, April the 18th, 1621, and passed away on November the 24th, 1675. He's revered by the Sikhs as Shrist di Chadar, which protector of humanity, and was a knight of the 10th Gurus of Sikhism. He had become Guru on 16th of April 1664, following the footsteps of his grand nephew and the 8th Guru, Guru Har Krishan Ji. A poet, a thinker, and a warrior, Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji carried forward the light of sanctity and the divinity of Guru Nanak Dev Ji and the subsequent Sikh Gurus. His spiritual writings, detailing varied themes such as the nature of God, human attachments, body, mind, sorrow, dignity, service, death, and deliverance, are registered in the form of 116 poetic hymns in the sacred scripture, the Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. To spread the message of Sikhism, the Guru travelled extensively through the Indian subcontinent, setting up several new preaching centres. He founded the town of Chaknanki in Punjab, later enlarged by the 10th Guru, Guru Gobind Singh Ji, into the city of Sri Anandpur Sahib. In May 1675, Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji was approached by Hindu Pandits from the Kashmir region seeking the Guru's intercession against the forced conversions of Hindus to Islam by the Mughal rulers of India. For supporting the Hindu Pandits by resisting these forced conversions and for himself refusing to convert to Islam, Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji was publicly executed via beheadings at the imperial capital of Delhi on the orders of the Emperor Aurangzeb. Today, Gurudwara Sis Ganj Sahib and Gurudwara Rakab Ganj Sahib stand at the sites of beheadings and the cremation of Guruji's body, along with Guru Tegh Bahadur. 3 other Sikhs, by Mata Ji, by Mata Das, by Sati Das, and by Diyal Das, were also executed. On Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji's supreme sacrifice to champion fundamental human rights for all, his son, the 10th Guru, Guru Gobind Singh Ji, wrote, I'll have to read it in English basically. Casting off his bodily vesture of the head of Suzain of Delhi, Tegh Bahadur departed to the realm of God. None who came into the world performed such glorious deeds as him. On his departure, there was dismay in the world. This world cries, alas, alas, the heavens rang with greetings of victory. So, as you can see, as you can hear, that, Guru Tegh Bahadur, that's a short summary. I'm going to do a proper show on Guru Tegh Bahadur anyway, because it's the 400th anniversary this year, and I'm going to be doing a piece of artwork, and I'll probably kind of go through that as I'm doing that. Now, let me just check one thing. Let me just check. Okay. While I'm doing that, let me just get one other video, because I want to kind of go through the concept of Chardi Kala, because I think there is a video on here that actually explains it better than I could ever say it. So Chardi Kala, here it is. All right. Actually, do you know what? I might actually just read a little bit more of his sacrifice, actually, because I think that's where, the concept of keeping a positive mind is important. Yeah. So journey to martyrdom. It seems orders for Guru Tegh Bahadur's arrest had been issued by Aurangzeb as soon as the reports of his declared intentions. I called him. Aurangzeb, being clever, decided. You know what, I should read it from there. Oppression by the Mughals. All right. Oppression and intolerance would again rear its ugly head. The Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb ordered Hindu temples to be destroyed and that idol worship was to be stopped. He had a temple converted into a mosque and slaughtered a cow inside it. Remember, or not all of the Mughal emperors were bad. I mean, Akbar was pretty good. He was quite tolerant, but a lot of people don't really see him as a practicing Muslim because of his kind of stance on Hinduism and stuff like that. He had a temple converted into a mosque and slaughtered a cow inside it. He also had Hindus sacked from their government jobs and employed Muslims instead. Aurangzeb also ordered gurudwaras to be destroyed and he expelled many missionaries from the main cities. Despite some resistance, after many years of persecution, people were being forced to take up Islam. Now, P.N.K. Bazmi book, A History of Kashmir, described those days. If Fateh Khan was using force to convert the Pandits in Kashmir to Islam, some pious men among the Pandits then met and decided to go to Amartan and invoke the mercy of Lord Shiva at their sacred cave for deliverance from the tyrannies of the bigot. At the Mataria cave, one of the Pandits saw in a dream Lord Shiva, who told him to go to Tegh Bahadur, Guru Tegh Bahadur, the 9th Sikh Guru in the Punjab, and ask for his help to save the Hindu religion. He spoke to his companions about the revelation. About 400 or 500 Pandits proceeded to Anandpur, where Guru Tegh Bahadur was living. Aurangzeb, being clever, decided if he could convert the revered Brahmin Pandits of Kashmir, then millions of their followers would also convert. Threatened with conversion or death, the Pandits, overcome by panic, came in a delegation to Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji to ask for help at Chak Nanaki, Pargana Kalur, from a contemporary entry in the Batavari of the Purat of Tawalat in Jing Pargana. Sorry about butchering that. Hearing the serious nature of the conversions, Guruji's 9-year-old son, Guru Gobind Rai, who later became Guru Gobind Singh Ji, the 10th Guru, asked his father what the problem was. The Guru told his son of the Pandit's dilemma and said that it would take a holy man literally laying down his life to intercede. But the question is, who would be such a man? Gobind Rai responded, who would be better than you to defend the poor Brahmins? Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji smiled and decided to stand up for the right of freedom of worship and told the delegation to tell Aurangzeb that if he could convert Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, they would gladly convert to Islam too. And when the cruel Aurangzeb tried his all to convert Guruji to Islam, but to no avail, he tortured Guruji to death. The Guruji thus sent a strong message of religious freedom and is rightly called Hinda Chadar, which means the protector of Hindustani or Hindus. He had his son Guru Gobind Rai consecrated Guru and successor on the 8th of July 1675. The ceremony that had taken place 7 times before is repeated. The Guru placed 5 coins and coconut before his son as a symbol of the Guruship passing from him to his son. Gobind Rai was now the Guru of the Sikhs at the age of 9 years. Guru Tegh Bahadur then left Anandpur Sahib for Delhi with 3 other Sikhs who knew as well the danger they were to face, by Sati Das, by Mati Das, and by Diyal Das. It seems orders of his arrest had been issued by Aurangzeb as soon as he received reports of his declaration intentions. Sri Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, along with his followers, started journey for Sri Anandpur Sahib, stopping at Saifalabad, Patiala, Chika, Jind, Rohtak, Jainapur. Guru Sahib reached here at Agra. Guru Sahib stopped outside Agra city at this place. As his history reveals, there was a gazer by the name of Hassan Ali who used to bring the goats for grazing. He also used to pray to God, but the savior of Hindus will get arrested one day, and he should be the one responsible for this. Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib arrest and get a paid bounty of 500 rupees in the process. Guru Sahib beckoned Hassan Ali to fetch sweets from the market as he was hungry. Guru Sahib gave his precious ring to sell in the market and bring some sweets and food from that money. Guru Sahib also gave him a shawl to carry the sweets and food. Hassan Ali went to the confectioner and gave the ring to the shopkeeper in exchange for the sweets. Seeing such expensive things, the shopkeeper became suspicious that how can a grazer have such things? Maybe he must have stolen it from the police station. Yeah, and he reported to the police. The police arrested Hassan Ali, who took him to Guru Sahib. The police then asked who Guru Sahib was, and in turn, the reply came, the savior of Hindus, Guru Tegh Bahadur, is my name. On hearing this, police arrested Guru Sahib along with the other Sikhs. Guru Sahib was kept blindfolded for 9 days in Bora Sahib, below the main Darbar Sahib. Hassan Ali was in turn given the bounty of 500 rupees. From here, Guru Sahib and the other Sikhs were taken under high security to Delhi. Along with their arrest, his companions were then cast into an iron cage and taken to Delhi, where he arrived on the 4th of November 1675. Guruji was beheaded on the 24th of November 1675 by Jata, the consecrated Guruji severed head to Anandpur Sahib, where it was cremated by Guru Gobind Singh Ji. A severe storm had come upon up after the execution of Bhai Lucky Singh Shah, carried Guru after the execution, and Bhai Lucky Singh Shah carried Guruji's body to his nearby house, which he then set on fire to conceal the cremation of the Guru's body. It said that Bhai Jata's own father volunteered to be beheaded to cover the loss of the Guru's body. Many of the Pandits became Sikhs. Their leader, Kripa Ram, was baptized as a Sikh and died fighting the Mughals with Guru Gobind Singh Ji's older sons. Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji had a versatile personality, a warrior, a family man with a social commitment, and a preacher of great understanding and vision. His martyrdom broke the myth of Aurangzeb religiosity. So the achievements of Guru Tegh Bahadur are remarkable. During the last period in Guruji's life, Guruji founded a new town called Anandpur Sahib and went on missionary tours of Uttar Pradesh and Bengal. Guruji also initiated welfare projects all over northern Punjab. Guruji symbolized the triumph of good over evil. Guruji's martyrdom, unique in the history of mankind, inspired many Sikhs to lay down their lives for noble causes and moral values. Guruji was also a versatile poet and embodied a message of freedom, courage, and compassion. Fear not and frighten not. So I've gone through kind of like, a brief story of his life. It is 6:07. I'm not sure exactly what's going on with Auntie Bibi, God, because I think they said they were going to turn up at 7. Maybe they've got the time wrong. I'll have to just double check. Let's see. And no one's responding, so I'm going to have to figure out what's going on. I don't know exactly what's happening. Whether they're still turning up, maybe something's happened. They're normally pretty thing. What I'll do is actually on this one, I haven't really shown this video for a long time, but you know what? Why not? I don't like showing it because it's got family stuff in it, but I think it's kind of relevant to this particular what is it called? This particular video, because one of the things is, obviously I'm going to talk about me until other people come, and if they don't come, then obviously there's not much I can do. Let me say a couple of hellos in the chat first. Big up to Jem Wallace, we're going to call her our dharmic warrior. She's like the Joan of Arc of Buddhism. She's like, on the horse with the sword out, fighting tyranny against Buddha and Buddhism, so we've got to give her credit for defending the dharmic faith. Scarlet Fox, big up to yourself. Morpheus, big up. I'm still training, obviously. Whether it's called boxing, I just use it to do cardio at the moment. Shivadanta Jagannatha, big up. Okay, Carl Holmes says, pray for Christian Erickson. He just typed in a picture and looked like a heart attack. Bloody hell, man. How old is that guy? Christian Erickson. Okay. We'll pray for him, obviously. So what I'll do for now, is that, I was going to show this later, but let me just wait until people turn up. If they do, if they don't, then we'll have to reschedule. I haven't got no return messages for some reason. So obviously I done a, I had a video made about me, obviously, a documentary, like a short film, because, I'm the hard, and this was around 5 years ago. no, 3 or 4 years ago, and this was when before I went Speaker's Corner, I think a couple of months, and I was very fat. I'm not gonna lie, when I watch this video, I get annoyed with myself. I didn't lose weight for the camera because I was actually nearly 15 stone at that point. Right now, I'm around 12 and a half. And so what I had was a camera crew come into the house, and they filmed me for a short little film for Sikh Lens Festival. And one of the things that come out of this was my journey through depression and Sikhism. Yeah, and obviously this is connected because the way I kind of, whenever I was depressed when I was younger, or as I was growing up, I used to always think about, the Guru's lives and, how come, they managed to sacrifice so much. And, when I was feeling down, I'd be like, oh my God, like the Guru's sacrificed so much. How did they go through all this torment and torture and stuff and stay positive? Yeah. And they used to kind of always play in my mind. So, one of the things was when I started to draw again after 13 years, one of the things I did, I started doing a lot of Sikh artwork for my mum originally. Originally, I did it for my mum because I wanted her to kind of like, win her over. But over a period of time, I started to, really love doing the Sikh artwork, and I still do because, you have to read the story and then you have to try and create a picture of the events. Yeah. And so obviously most of my artwork is kind of original artwork. I try not to copy other people. So when I had the people coming in doing the little filming, I kind of showed the process of what I did with my family and stuff. So here's a little bit. I'm not going to play the whole thing because I don't want to give much away. So basically the film was called Drawn from Life. It's got a lot of family stuff with it, so I don't like going through too much here. But as you can see in my house, I have my artwork here, kind of like sprinkled around the house. So you can see all these artworks are there, and it's changed now. I've changed it actually. So. So they were kind of like, just basically filming my kind of like process of how I do Seeker. Now, the reason why this bit is a bit important, because I talked about depression as well in this, about how
when I graduated, I just kind of, I found the world much more difficult to deal with than university. And so for a lot of reasons, I stopped drawing. 1 year turned to 2, then 2 turned to 3. And then the next thing I know, it's like 12, 13 years later. I mean,
So I don't want to show too much, but let me just go through this bit. Hold on.
Once you know you've got a particular condition, then you're really far down the autism.
Obviously, here's me eating my beans.
It's nice with bubbling.
He never lost his happiness or excitement over baked beans, and we knew that wasn't quite right.
I think you should actually be sponsored by them. I'm not gonna lie to you. The amount of, endorsement he does for high-end baked beans is unreal. And he was just saying to me yesterday that no matter how many times he's eaten them, every single day, they still taste like the first time he's ever had them.
One of the negatives people don't really realize is the high anxiety of autism. When I got the diagnosis, it was kind of like a eureka moment.
So this drawing here was actually a drawing about depression. So it's an actual. I'll send you the full video, Jen Wallace.
For me, and I started to be able to kind of control the anxiety and rationalize it and say, this is why you're anxious. Because your brain's functioning in a different way, and now anxiety, although it's there, it's controlled. So I know what I'm doing now. So this is the first portrait I've done, and it looks really rough now, but at the time I was really proud of myself.
And before it says Raj, you're so fat, yeah, I was 3 stone heavy there, so stop laughing a bit.
Oh my God, I can still draw. My mum's impacted me in every way. So, you know, obviously I see my mum as the person that I've always respected. I think she does these little flower drawings, and she's always done this. I always just look at them and they're not your traditional kind of drawings. They're kind of more patterns, but there's still an artistic element to it.
Only I'm proud of his Sikh artwork because as I am religious also, I like only religion thing. Then Kirpans are nice.
What do you want me to change on there?
She's very straightforward, and that's a very good trait to have, and it's not very common. She knows what she wants, and in terms of my artwork, that's great.
Diamond is a little small. Make it a little bit big.
You want me to make the diamond a bit bigger?
Yeah.
When I show my mum, there's nothing like when your mum's appreciative of a particular kind of artwork. If she sees it and doesn't like it, she'll keep on telling me to tweak it, and she's very stubborn as well. So a bit like me, she won't let it go until I've actually resolved that particular issue. That's actually Guru Gobind Singh Ji, the 10th Guru. He's probably the biggest inspiration for me. I've done lots of drawings of him because without him, the Sikhs would not be the way we are, with the turban, with the beard, with the warrior kind of stance. It's all to do with him. Yeah, trying to live by his kind of ethos, which is, defend the weak and live a pious life. I've been a cultural Sikh. So when I say cultural, I mean I wasn't really religious, but I always respected the history because my mum told me, and I always respected, the way the community functions. So I always wanted to be part of the community, but I didn't feel I could be part of the community. Once I started drawing again, and I've done the Sikh artwork, once I've done that, I completely reconnected, because then I was kind of invited to exhibit at the temples and do festivals. One of the issues I always had, I don't like busy areas, and unfortunately the temple is always the most busiest place. My anxiety kind of dissipates when I'm talking about my artwork because I'm confident with it. Yeah, so I had the pictures. If it was just a social event, I just wouldn't go.
Yeah, so you can see there, no, it's not in London, it's in Gravesend. It's kind of out of London, it's near London. Yeah, it's one of the biggest Sikh temples in the UK. And yeah, I know it sounds, when you hear me there, Raj sounds so sweet and, innocent, yeah. But everyone always says to me when they watch that video, well, Raj, why do you not talk like that all the time? The thing is, when you're being filmed about a serious topic, yeah, I have to speak like this, yeah. I'm not going to be ranting and raving when I'm talking about something serious. So I do have that, ability to be able to talk sensibly when I have to, yeah. And so the documentary obviously was about, just generally my reconnection to my faith, yeah. And one of the ways I did that was actually through artwork, yeah, because, when I'm drawing and reconnecting to Sikhism, it was through the artwork, especially because I had to learn each of the stories that I did, yeah, and especially about the ones that were about hardship, helped with depression as well. Because when you're reading stories and you're learning the stories of the Sikh gurus and the Sikh gurus' children and what they went through, you kind of put things into perspective about your own life and the hardships you're having, yeah. Because as hard as you think your life is, it's somebody normally has it worse. Yeah. Now I have got this particular drawing that I want to show that I actually put on there because I actually don't know what's going on at the minute because I haven't got an email back from Flexi or the auntie, so I don't know what's happening, whether the show's still going to be going on today. I'll have to wait for another. There's not much I can do with it by myself, to be honest with you. I don't know what's happened to Flexi and Thingy. Maybe there's some kind of some sort of emergency might have happened that I don't know about. So here is the drawing that I was talking about. That was on there. Now the reason why this drawing it's not my best technically, but it is good about it's about depression basically. And what it is that when you're depressed, yeah, your perception of reality is skewed. Yeah, so you believe that everybody's having a great time, and you're walking about and you think that your neighbor's having a good laugh. You hear them laughing. You see the people down the road laughing, and you in your own brain. You think that everybody has an easy life and your life is miserable. But in reality, these people laughing are just normally just have problems too. Yeah, some of them might be depressed as well. They just find it easier to hide their mental kind of like anxiety. Yeah, so the guy in the middle kind of represented what I say myself. Yeah, I'm not depressed. I haven't been depressed for, I think, when was the last time? I think 2011, 2000 and something. Yeah, I'm pretty good at. I know when I feel depressed, I can draw. So drawing has been a very good therapeutic way to kind of resolve anxiety and stuff. So as you can see, everybody's laughing in this picture, and the guy in the middle is miserable. Yeah, thinking that everybody else is laughing, but in reality, this is not reality. It's what you see. Yeah, but and the clouds are like the depression, and they're kind of dissipating. So it's called a light at the end of the tunnel. So basically, he's starting to see that this is not reality. This is kind of like a full sense of, the world. Now, obviously, I'm kind of like, not really sure what is going on at the moment because it's 6:22, and I can't keep the show up unless people turn up, and unless the auntie or thingy turns up in the next 10 minutes. So I'm not sure what I need to do. What I'll do then is I'll probably just concentrate on I'll give it another 10 more minutes, and let me just play a video about Chardi, because Chardi is a actual it's a state of mind in the sense of this is why I say drinking alcohol or doing drugs doesn't work, because all it does is it puts a plaster on a cut. Yeah, but it doesn't stitch the cut up. It doesn't stop the cut from kind of festering. And so the best way to do it is to just face reality. I'm stone cold sober. Yeah, I'm stone cold. So I know I look a bit crazy sometimes. I've not had no intoxicants for 12 years. I took antidepressants for, I think, 5 years to get myself back up to stage, and then I stopped taking them. I think, when's the last time I took? I think it was 2016, 17. And what you then have to do is you've got to understand that being depressed is normal. It's just part and parcel of you're going to be happy sometimes. Sometimes you're going to be sad. Sometimes you're going to be very depressed. But the problem is that a lot of people, they don't realize that the depression will end. Yeah, they think it's a kind of like they're in a well and they can't see an end to the kind of like depression. But it can end. I mean, I was lucky I found my artwork again, because when I'm drawing, I'm so zoned out that the world could be blowing up and I don't really get affected because I'm so concentrating on the artwork. And that's a good way to sort of get yourself out of problems. So whenever I've had issues or when I'm having a problem, what I do is I go over to the artwork and I just draw for a couple of hours, and it relaxes me. And then I can just kind of like, any kind of like anxiety or something that's annoyed me, I can just kind of get out for that time. Whether you do that with meditation, Yeah, Jen Wallace, you might as well jump on then. Come on, let's talk. Let's get our Dharmic queen onto here. And then we can obviously, you know, rather than wasting the show, we can go till like 7 o'clock and at least make the show into something a little bit productive. I'll send. Let me send you the thing. But while I do that, let me just play. Just play the Chardi Kala. So I mean, even though maybe Auntie can't make it today for some reason, I don't know. She's got busy. She did arrange for it today, but maybe something's happened. Rather than having the show that is, you know, it's just gonna be kind of pointless. I might as well make something of it and concentrate on a bit of yeah, I'm gonna play a video for a couple of minutes. And this is Chardi Kala and what it means in Sikhism. It's something that, you know, I think can be, although it's a Sikh kind of concept, it's something that I think everybody can kind of take something from, no matter what faith you are.
There's two ways to look at Chardi Kala. One is a false positivity that we add to a negative situation. So it's like you wake up in the morning, you know you're in a bad state, but you're just trying to give you a better way to feel. And this is what personal development teachers will teach you. The most basic things, you go to these Western personal development gurus, and the first thing they teach you is positive mental attitude. I wake up in the morning, I will lose weight, I will lose weight. I am a champion. It's that kind of very primitive way of thinking. I am a success. Yeah? Think successful and you will be successful. It's that kind of very, very primitive psychology. That's not what Chardi Kala is. Chardi Kala is not saying I'm in a negative situation, so I will think positive. Chardi Kala is, what can the world do to me? I'm not even here. When the world can't even touch you, that's a completely different Chardi Kala. The Khalsa were constantly in Chardi Kala because they were already dead. Death is something that they've already done. When you become a Khalsa, your head is already gone. When the Brahmgyanis, Maharaj says, Brahmgyanis are Jivat Mare, they're already dead. So what you see is something that's alive, but it's kind of half alive, half dead. That part of them, which they identified as me, that bit they don't hold on to anymore. Now someone who is already dead, what can you take away from them?
Oh, Flexi. What's happened to Auntie?
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. How are we doing, man? Can you hear me? How's my reception?
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Where's Auntie? She's still coming on?
She's on her way, man. But
Okay.
firstly, I wanted to ask you,
Yeah.
am I culturally appropriating wearing the Bana of Maharaja? You know?
No, did someone say that?
No, you know, I just had this interesting experience last year, sitting on the train in Acton on the way to Southall, and this lady come beside me, started cussing me for putting on a bandana, because I was heading to Godwar, of course, and she starts telling me I'm stealing her culture. But next thing, a Singh comes down, sits beside me, Vaheguru, you know, recognizes what's going
You're cracking up.
on and bringing with tea. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right, man, I'm going to take the camera off. I'll get on with Auntie G, and I'll get right back to you, yeah?
Are you okay? Because what it is here,
Right.
I wasn't sure if, I don't know if you watched the beginning bit. So I've got Jen Wallace is going to come on now as well. You're okay with Jen Wallace, isn't it? She's a Buddhist.
Very good, but can we bring Auntie first, please?
Yeah. I'm gonna tell her to come back because I wasn't sure if you lot were coming though. So I thought I'd carry the show on. So I'll tell her to come in around half an hour or an hour.
Wicked. All right, G. I'll get on to Auntie Granty G and I'll be right back with you.
Yeah, I'll get Jen Wallace on later. So yeah, the show will be going on. So we'll get Auntie on first. Yeah, I mean the thing is you have to take responsibility for your yeah, wait for a little bit, half an hour, 40 minutes. You have to take responsibility for your own actions before you can deal with things. This is why I say that, you know, sometimes, you know, just facing the stone cold truth of your life and what you've done is better than being in what's called kind of like a full sense of, okay, you know, everything's not your own fault. Yeah. Most of the time when something happens, you have to take responsibility for, you know, what's happened to yourself. It's not always everyone's fault. And this is one of the things I found about when people are depressed and stuff, including myself, you tend to blame others for everything rather than balancing it out and seeing that, okay, you know, although you shouldn't, you know, kick yourself all the time about it, but you should take responsibility for the state of, you know, things that have happened, you know, or things that have happened in your life. Yeah. Well, let me just see if I can. Oh, let me just finish the video of this.
It's like you take their possessions away, say, yeah, they're not mine. You take his life away, say, it's not mine. It's like you can't do anything with that guy. He's already gone. That's Chardi Kala. Your energy is unlimited. Yeah, Kala, Chardi is constantly rising. It's not a false positivity. That is not a positive spin that you put on a negative. It's saying, I'm not here. Now come and have a go. You see, the Khalsa's Chardi Kala is just something else. It's something else. There's no other way to describe it. You can't do anything to that person. You can't touch them.
I think it's experience.
It's a lived experience. Their arms get chopped off, Chardi Kala. Their legs get chopped off. Their families get wiped out, Chardi Kala. You ask them, Kidda Baba Ji, Chardi Kala. I can't be touched because I'm not even here. Who's here? Ik. Why are you in Chardi Kala? Because hukam is going to happen anyway. Hukam's happening anyway. If my arm's going to get chopped off today, it's going to get chopped off. Chardi Kala.
I'm gonna be honest, I'm just choking to death there, man. Oh God, I had to put it on mute. You know when you drink something and then you start coughing and you've got like a. No, just give me a minute. So Flexie's suddenly he's dropped off. I think he should be coming back. Yeah, I mean, while I wait for them, I might as well play a little bit of that video about me talking about Drawn from Life. I think it has some good bits about it, about me. Here's when I when I used to give some talks and stuff.
Autism London kind of pushes me out of my comfort zone as well once in a while.
So here's that drawing, and there's another drawing about depression that I exhibited here.
Good. I'm just waiting for myself to get to a particular stage, which I'm nearing, and then I'm going to unleash myself on the unsuspecting public. The main topic today is actually for depression and mental health, and I've done quite a few drawings on mental health and trying to highlight that particular issue. one of the projects that I'd started last year, which is still ongoing, is actually a project called Faces on the Spectrum. I wanted to kind of break down the stereotypes of what someone with autism looks like. Because when I got diagnosed, one of the reasons I probably didn't get diagnosed is because I had a particular perception of what I thought an autistic person looked like. And so, because I didn't see that in myself, I never really thought about autism being the reason why I had so many problems. So this drawing is called actually Big Boys Do Cry. And I chose a guy that looks quite charismatic, not your normal type of guy that might be crying. And I added the tears into the picture. I just wanted to kind of highlight that, you know, showing your emotion, because the only time I really got better was to go through counselling. One of the things I was always good at when I was younger, and I realised I wasn't depressed when I was younger, was I used to draw all the time. And it's a way for me to escape, you know, the problems of the world. At the moment, I'm content. I keep saying to people, I don't.
Yeah, so you can see I've given speeches on depression. Oh, hakireta. Oh, sasri kal ji. Waheguru ji ka khalsa, waheguru ji ki fateh. I'll put that camera back on. Let me have a look. The comment no. The comment no. The start of the car. Go on. Let me have a look. I'll take the camera.
Yeah, do you like my pug?
Oh God. Yeah, big up, man. Stand up for a second. Stand up. No, put it on. Let's have a look at yourself, man.
No, I can't, because at the moment I'm not in my house, innit? So I can't.
Okay. Where are you?
Yeah. Huh?
Where are you?
I'm in the back. I'm in the back, innit? So it's a bit awkward, but still. But yeah, how's it going, man?
Yeah, I'm just gonna wait for Auntie to come, and then she's in the back. So can you do me a favor? Can you just let me and her talk for a bit?
Yeah.
And you need to just be chop like a good little boy. And then if you speak, I'll give you a little slap, mentally, and then what we'll do, we'll open a discussion up, because we're gonna be talking about mental health and stuff like that. So let me just bring the main guest on now. The guest has arrived. Everybody needs to be quiet. Make sure the respect to any bad words or silliness in the chat must be punished severely. The Raj has to now be on best behavior, like I'm literally walking to the Gurdwara, and I will say Waheguru ji ka khalsa, Shabad Priya ko. I think you've got a echo. Waheguru ji ka khalsa. You need to put your headphones on.
Yeah. I do.
You've got
Sorry.
You need to put your headphones on.
I've got them.
Yeah.
I do. Sorry.
Connect it to the thingy. You need to, because you've got echo coming from the thingy.
Sorry.
Connect it to the thingy. You need to, because you've got echo coming from the thingy.
Yep.
A few technical difficulties. This Auntie, deal with a technical difficulty. How do we get it so that we got a technical difficulty?
There we go.
Okay, that's it.
Now, no technical.
Okay, so Waheguru ji ka khalsa, Waheguru ji ki fateh.
That's much better.
Don't know if she can hear us.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah. She can't hear us, I don't think.
Jerry, just give me a second.
We'll give you. Take your time.
Jerry, I am having a difficulty. Give me just a minute.
Whose turn? We got a problem. I think we got a problem. Yeah, do your thing. Then I'll talk to Akira from it. Akira.
Yeah,
you can talk. You can talk. So let me just put her in a back chat for a minute so she can get her stuff sorted out. Yeah. So like I said, I've gone over to Guru Tegh Bahadur and a bit about his life, obviously, and the concept of Chardi. And so I want to keep the topic on keeping a positive mindset and how to maybe use Sikhi or spirituality to try and get yourself out of depression and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, let me just give her a couple of minutes. How you been otherwise, Akira?
Yeah, I've been all right, thank you. Just been trying to progress on my spiritual path, but it's not easy, especially because we've been given the hardest path, which is within Maya. We've been given the hardest path, and
I have a settings issue.
Yeah.
I'm
you hear
having a sound issue.
Can you hear us? I don't think she can hear us at the moment. I'm not sure if she can mute the YouTube, because if she mutes it, then what happens is that she can't hear us. So then she'll be talking to herself. So let's give her a minute or so.
So come here, type in Bluetooth.
The man come to save the day. The man come to save the day. Oh, well. What can we say? You know, the men and technical stuff. Obviously, I'm not sexist, obviously. Oh, can you just do me a quick favor, Horner? Yeah. Just say sorry to Sia for me, please, quickly.
What, me?
Yeah, just say, look, yeah, man, Mafi Mangda. Yeah.
I'm so sorry. And, you know, it would not happen again. It was my mistake, 100%. And, you know, that will never happen again.
Yeah. Well, let's not go too much. I'm going to make sure you do it properly on a different show. But I thought, let me just quickly get it in there. We don't want, you know, people to say, oh, you didn't say sorry and stuff. So have you... oh, look.
Speaker.
Got
So
it.
they asked me to unplug the speaker. And
We'll wait for him to do it. Yeah, I'm going to get Jen Wallace on later as well. You cool with Jen Wallace?
Yeah. I'm cool with everybody. I'm cool with everybody.
So tomorrow, I think she's doing a show tomorrow about the Dharmic faiths and stuff. So try jumping on there tomorrow as well.
That's interesting. Thank you for that.
No, Jen Wallace isn't going to introduce who the lady is. She's going to introduce who the lady is. Yeah, she will introduce. I want to wait for her to talk. She can introduce herself. So we've spoken to her before. She's a Sikh convert from America. And we spoke to her last time. Her name's Bibi Shabad Priya Kaur. And she's had a journey that she went through being, I think she was a Christian, I can't remember, maybe Jewish. And then she went over to being a Sikh convert. And the reason she came over because of some hardship and stuff. And this is where we're going to connect it to kind of like mental health. Last time I spoke to her, we went through a journey, but I couldn't speak too in depth about her issues that led her to, you know, kind of come to Sikhi. So this is kind of like a two-part, the second part to the actual kind of like conversation I had to her last time. I would love to make a journey. Not today, Wisdom. Today is going to be very closed. Yeah, we could talk tomorrow on Jen Wallace's. Yeah, we'll talk tomorrow. I'm having a closed thingy today. Only a handful of people. Me, Hakirat, her, Bibi Shabad, and then obviously Flexi, and I might let and Jen Wallace will come in at the end for a little bit. Let's see if she's got it.
this,
Okay. How is it now?
which is right here, and I just do this right here, and that's it.
All right, we're done.
So then you give me back my sound, which is right here, which is right here, and then we see if they can hear me. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Yeah, can you hear us?
Yeah. No feedback.
It had to be. I don't. Obviously,
Technical assistance.
Was that your husband?
Yes, that was my husband.
Tell him that. Thank God for men, because we tend to resolve the issues.
Thank God for men who work in IT.
Yeah, we got to him, man.
Who do seva at the Gurdwara, even though they are not Sikhs.
Oh wow, amazing!
And work on the security system at the Gurdwara and everything. So
tell him we appreciate.
So sorry, but you know, updates to Windows, they undo all of the settings. Every time you update it undoes everything, and then you're screwed, and then you have to start over. What's this morning about? Don't say any cuss words.
Yeah, I mean the problem is that, you know, like last time I did the show, there were people in the chat kind of trying to derail, and obviously because of my strength of character, I wasn't derailed, and your strength of character, we just stayed focused like laser beam. And it's only afterwards when I saw that people.
And you think I'm a fragile snowflake that can't endure a cuss word or 10?
I'm a fragile snowflake. So
Oh,
I'm
really?
worried about myself. Yeah, I was worried about myself.
I didn't take you as the fragile.
Well, the thing is, when I'm showing these, because I showed this video, like our last conversation to my mum, so I don't want any madness when I'm showing the video. So it's like I want it to be able to be seen by a lot of people. If you got like a little bit of let's say bad language and stuff, it kind of ruins it. So for me, like these kind of like shows about spirituality and kind of like I think it's last time I spoke to you, we went through kind of like the kind of like a overall kind of journey of how you got to where you are as a Sikh today. But one of the things I wanted to touch upon more was obviously your issues. I think you said you had issues like myself with mental health and stuff for a bit, and maybe how not just Sikhism but maybe spirituality, meditation, and the concept of Chardi and all of this kind of stuff helped you. I don't know if you want to give yourself a quick overview, because there's people in the chat that might not have heard your journey from before. So if you want to introduce yourself and just give yourself a quick 5-minute kind of introduction, a few minutes.
Sure. In a nutshell, my name is Shabad Priya, and I live in Texas. I am 58 years of age, and 6 years ago, I was in very, very poor health. I was told I had about a year to live. I had already spent 10 years in a wheelchair with a walker. I weighed 400 pounds. I was really, really ill. My heart was failing. I ended up having surgery to help me lose weight. And on that surgical table, I had a stroke. My heart stopped, and they revived me. And I woke up and was paralyzed on half of my body. I could not speak. I could not swallow properly. I was on a liquid diet for 8 months. I lost 250 pounds in about a year. Every time I looked in the mirror, I literally jumped, because what I saw looking back was not the me I remembered. But people do not get to, I was stuffing my emotions down my throat by eating. And because I grew up in an abusive home, and I had an abusive first marriage, and I never felt like I had a voice. So whenever I was depressed or sad or angry, I would stuff food in my mouth instead, almost stuffing those emotions down. And so I didn't even really recognize that I was depressed. I actually think I was trying to slowly kill myself. I didn't enjoy my life, even though I had been successful in IT management, everything. But as the face in the mirror changed, I slowly thought, first, I was not happy that God had saved me. And then I thought, well, why did God save me? There must be a purpose. I was a Jew, but I was an unhappy Jew. I never felt like I fit spiritually. I never felt like I fit anywhere. I never felt like I was part of a community, a spiritual community. I never was a successful person who prayed. I never felt like God heard me. And because if God was really listening, why would he let all these terrible things happen to me and other people? And I couldn't understand it. And so I started going on, essentially, as I could start to walk, I started investigating why. Why was I saved? There must be a reason. And eventually I came upon someone who said, I want you to meditate and sing this mantra. She wouldn't tell me what it was. And so I did for a week. And and it made me feel better. And she said, did it make you feel better? I said, yes. What is it? And she wouldn't tell me. So then she said, sing this one. It was a different one. Wouldn't tell me what it was. Didn't know what language it was in. Had no idea, but it did make me feel better. Somehow it really did. And when I came back to her, she said, do you know anything about Sikhs? And I said, no. She said, is there a Gurdwara in your city? And I said, no. She said, are you sure? And I've lived here since, decades, four decades. If there were Sikhs in my city, I really would know. My Gurdwara is 2 miles from where I live. I never knew. Never saw a Sikh in this city. I'm amazed that I didn't know.
Can you just say what city that was, just so that people...
I live in Irving, Texas, where the Dallas Cowboys used to be. Graduated from high school in the old Cowboy Stadium. We're right outside of Dallas. And the Gurdwara is Gurdwara Nishkam Seva in Irving. And that is where I am the Granti now. And so I went there, and I felt like I had come home. I really did. It felt like I belonged there somehow. And I stayed around and did Seva for a while. And the more and more I stayed, despite all the difficulties and being a convert and traversing the cultural rift between the two cultures and the learning challenges, because there's a ton there. I persevered and I made it. A lot of converts don't. It's a difficult path, but it has been so worth it. This is the happiest, my husband will say, this is the happiest in the 4 decades he's known me that I've ever been. And when I leave this earth, if I could be sitting behind Guruji like that, leading Nitnambanis, that's the way I want to go. I've
got your Facebook kind of live stream that you've done, and so
I see it.
Reads the kind of like the City Guru Granth Sahib to the Sangat and stuff like that. And so obviously, a female or male can do that. That's not something that's a problem. So yeah, one of the things I get criticized about sometimes is like, you only get like converts on the show, and that's not the case. Yeah. The only reason, Hakid is not a convert, I'm not a convert, and neither is Raindrop and other people. The only reason I do like talking to converts is just because the Punjabi culture, like I said, I'll do a whole show about this, is so kind of meshed together that sometimes it's nice to speak to people that do not have that. Yeah, so you can get a more distilled, purified version of Sikhism. Yeah.
Exactly.
Go through the thing, because I don't have to. When I'm speaking to you, I know you're going from the Sikh text. I don't need to worry. Oh, is she going from Punjabi culture, or is she going from thing? So I think this is a good way. And also, it kind of like there's this narrative that Sikhism is like a Punjabi religion. It's not, and we need to stop doing that. Yeah, this is not a Punjabi religion. This is for everybody.
There is a distinct difference between religion and culture, but if you are a Punjabi-born Sikh, you don't see the difference. It's all melded together, and I can understand that. But as a Western convert, if you come into a traditional Gurdwara, which is what I am in, because this is the way that I believe, this is the way that I practice Sikhi, then it can be a little, I don't know, it can be a little challenging to know, ooh, am I in the right place? Should I be doing this, or should I be doing the 3HO thing, or should I be doing that thing over there? And, to find your place and where you fit, especially, Westerners tend to want to find where they fit immediately. And I'm that person who feels like my job is to help Westerners find their way initially. I'm that person at the door saying, welcome, welcome, let me help you. And because, it can be daunting, but it is easier for us to see the difference between culture and religion. And, but, Punjabis accept me as a Granthi.
I actually think the converts are going to kind of, in a way, are going to kind of remove the cultural aspects which are infiltrated the Gurdwara and stuff like this. Because I've had issues going to my local Gurdwara because of silliness of Punjabi kind of politics. Yeah, it's nothing to do with Sikhism; it's to do with the Punjabi politics. And so it's sad that I'm forcing myself to go there now because I'm like, all right. I should go. Yeah, forget about the politics and the silliness. Just ignore the gossiping and because you know what they do instead of going to the Gurdwara.
Oh, that's culture right there.
It's a cultural thing. So you'll see like aunties all sitting around and chit chatting as they're cutting for seva. They're doing seva, so they're doing something good, but at the same time they're doing bad because they're talking bad about somebody, and so it's kind of like a counterproductive kind of thing. And that's something that's a beautiful thing about Sikhi, the seva. Has been kind of like a human nature because the gossiping isn't just Punjabi thing, but Punjabis like doing it in kind of abundance when they go to the Gurdwara. So can I just quickly play just so that people can hear you? Just play a little bit of it. Hey, you pronounce. I'm not the best person because my Punjabi isn't that good, but your pronunciation sounds pretty good. Maybe I'll give it a date. I think so. Can we just kind of because you're giving an overview and I showed a picture of yourself just so people understand from before is that you went through life-changing kind of surgery and went through a stage that you suffered a lot and probably went into a deep depression before that, but also you probably went through a time frame where you were still kind of hurting. And one of the things is that I've been through depression for other reasons. I went to drink and I stopped 8 years ago, and all this kind of stuff. And one of the things is that even when I was depressed, I used to always think about the good olds, that pictures on the wall of Guru Tegh Bahadur or Chote Sahibs out there. And I'm like, wow, man, what I've gone through, how do they keep so positive? You lost all your family. And so I used to always remember that kind of looking at them and going, okay, if they can get through that, what is it to me? It's like a minimal thing. Yeah. Obviously, it didn't stop me from feeling depressed because I was still drinking. But I think, the concept, you understand what Chardi are, keeping in high spirits. Have you got a kind of like a kind of overview of how you see meditation and maybe the concept of Chardi, how it's helped you specifically?
Well, I think that it is different for everyone. What works for you may not work for me. But the way that I look at it is, for me, my drug of choice was food, and it still tends to be in Western culture. We tend to, food surrounds horrible events like funerals. Food surrounds good family events. It's always there. So food is the thing. And for me. And so I think about how the gurus, particularly Guru Nanak Dev Ji, said that that Guru Sikhs will have difficult times, and that there will be people that will say bad things about us, that there will be people who try to gossip about us. There will be people who will not like us, that it is a lonely road. It was a lonely road for Guru Nanak. There were people that detracted, what he was doing, people that didn't like it at all. And yet I think how great he was and that he's a role model and of change and everything. But then I think about how lonely he must have been, or how he must have felt, in the face of dealing with culture and culture change, because what he was trying to do was culture change. What he was trying to do was religious change. I mean, it's not very different from what I think needs to happen to Sikhi today. And so, when I'm feeling bad for myself, I try to think of that. And I say, you know what? Guruji said this is going to happen to me. It is happening to me. So maybe I didn't do something wrong to deserve this.
Mm.
And then, of course, then I do the whole hookum thing. It's God's will that this thing is happening to me. There is a lesson somewhere in here. Let me try to figure it out. Now, what happens when I don't find the lesson? Then I think, oh, sometimes I will go into am I just an idiot and I can't figure this out? But, sometimes it's years later when we realize what the lesson was. And we go, man, there was a reason why I did that idiot thing back there. Or there was the reason that person treated me horribly, or the reason I had that accident, or whatever it was. Or there was the reason I had that loss in my family of that person I really, really loved. And sometimes there isn't a reason for something, and we just simply have to accept, because the mere act of accepting a situation and trusting that we will be okay is the lesson itself. And there's nothing more than that.
Yeah, and the thing is, the thing I've realized, bad things happen.
They do.
Reason. It just happens to everybody. And so, so I agree, there's been times I've been through a lot of hardship. And at the time, it's the worst thing ever. Then when I look back, I'm like, wow, if that didn't happen, that wouldn't have happened. And if I didn't do that, even though it was thing at the time, I learned how to do this. And lots of skills I've learned and how to do things have been through a lot of hardship that I've got to really kind of test myself. And then I've been able to use that same thing I learned from that hardship on other things where I can use it for positive. Yeah. Like speaking right now. I mean, when I was younger, I was very quiet. But I had to go through certain things that pushed me out of my boundaries. And I had to do things in order to kind of like speak in public, talk. And those same skills now I can use, talking about depression, talking about Sikhi. I can go to Speaker's Corner. But at that time, I didn't understand why was I being forced out of my comfort zone, because I like to not, do certain things. Yeah.
So you would be...
Yeah.
Gone.
Let
Auntie talk, and then Hakita, you're next.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be who you are today if those things hadn't happened. But while those things are happening to us, we tend to focus on the me aspect. Why is this happening to me? Oh, or what did I do and everything? And then that's where we have to remember ego, because now we're back to me, and we don't even realize it because we're in a depressive state. And a lot of times it's like a victim, we make ourselves a victim of our own life. And we cannot be professional victims. That we need to be professional warriors, and that's when we take the lessons that we've learned and we do try to move forward. That doesn't mean we're not going to have awful days, or we're not going to have days where we cry. There was a day last week I cried and on someone's shoulder because something was really, really bothering me. And at one point I thought, man, I'm a Galanthi. I should not be crying about this item, but I was so confused about something that just really bugged the crap out of me. And I could not figure out what the answer was or how I was going to move forward, but simply talking with my friend made all the difference in the world. And the next day I woke up and I felt refreshed, and it was a new day, just like Sohila told me. And I realized that I needed to just trust God that everything was going to work out in the end and not get so focused on me, because that's.
And did it work out?
Yeah, it's still kind of working out, but yeah, it did.
We'll ask you again in a couple of weeks. Did it work out? Or did
we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. If you come back, then we'll ask. Hakid, so do you want to say your bit?
Yeah, I just wanted to go back to what Auntie G was saying about Hukam, this sort of idea of accepting reality. Like, from what I understand, your happiness is fully dependent on, or not fully, but is dependent on how much you're able to accept every part of reality. And most of the time, your unhappiness is caused by expectations and thoughts about how the world should be according to you. But I'm not saying this is how Auntie G, this was her. She was, but when you're able to accept reality, or when reality deviates from your expectation, then we feel unhappy. And I feel like the Guruji, he transforms our thinking, our thoughts, and our story. When you're able to change your story inside your head, then it does make a lot of difference. And and also letting go of control as well. You can be under attachments. You can be attached to your possessions, your thoughts, your opinions, especially your own body and life. These attachments will change, and when you feel like it's being threatened, or you might experience then distress in the form of anger or fear or anxiety, but getting into the habit of letting go of simple things that you would normally expect to control in your life, whether it be purposely allowing people to make decisions without your input, then you feel a lot more happier.
Well done, Hakid. Hakid is such a sensible young man. If only he kept like that all the time. I have to tell him off quite a lot, but we've got a lot of potential, Hakid. So yeah, I think he's a one to watch. So Flexi, I don't know if you want to say something before Auntie says something. Do you want to contribute?
Thanks, man. Yeah, I wanted to say, well said, Hakid, today. You hit the nail on the head, as did Auntie G.
We can't hear you, dude. You sound like you're in an aquarium.
How about mic check? Flexi Stu, can you hear me? All right. Sorry about that. So I was just wanted to say, like, Hakid, brother, you hit the nail on the head, exactly as Auntie G was expressing. The sense of home is the root of all suffering, is it not? And I think even using the word home instead of ego or even me or I, it works better. One thing that I've noticed in my conversations with Auntie G here is that I can use Punjabi words like benti and have such a more of an effect than to say, please, can I ask you for a humbly, to use words like homme or guru, while speaking in English, have so much more power than if we look for that English equivalent. And I think, homme is my enemy, and that's really what we're here to take down, no?
I mean, we've been conditioned, society's conditioned us to think in this way, me, and this is why, for example, waking up in the morning to meditate, especially when using a mantra, it teaches you to control your thoughts and let go of your attachments, and when we are able to do that, then we cause less suffering to ourselves. And Homme is a very strong soldier, and we have to fight, and that's what a Sikh is. Wake up in the morning, go to battle, go to war, an internal war, with Homme, with ego and everything which stems from that lust, anger, greed, pride, jealousy, attachments. And someone who believes in oneness and teaches oneness, that's a Sikh. And you said earlier that your husband's not a Sikh, but if that's what he does, then he's a Sikh. He doesn't have to have a beard or a turban, or even he can pray the Islamic way or Christian way, but for us he's a Sikh. For us he's still a Sikh. And for other people he's going to be a Christian, but for us he's still a Sikh.
Why good?
Yeah.
So, Shabad, Priya, if you want to say your bit.
Well, when we meditate or when we do our Nitnambanis or when we study Gurbani, that is a spiritual discipline. That is something that helps us move forward. And it of course, helps us develop our relationship with God, our relationship with ourselves, our relationship with our environment, even, and with other people. But then there are times when we are ill, and that is the toughest, especially during COVID. People become ill or our relatives become ill, and then it really becomes difficult because it's why me, and everybody around you is focused on you, and it's very hard to get out of thinking about yourself all the time. There's this musician, Vic Briggs, Singh, famous musician from the 60s, and he's sick, and he has cancer. And rather than do the poor me thing and do chemotherapy and all these other things, he decided to take a more holistic approach and do meditation and try some more natural remedies. And he's actually doing quite well. Considering that he's not doing chemotherapy, but more importantly, his attitude about his situation, because he is stage 4 cancer. And but he is able to enjoy the end of his life in Chardi because of it. And can you imagine being in pain and knowing that you were in the end days or months, and you may be talking to people for the last time, and you still have that contentment, positivity.
Well, this is how it links to like Guru Tegh Bahadur, like when I spoke about it's a 400th anniversary. And Plex is going to speak about this particular individual later on today. And the thing is that this is why, when you look at the Guru's life and you think about kind of the hardship they had to go through, how did they keep a positive mind? Because they did keep a positive mindset going through this. I mean, especially Guru Gobind Singh did the final, the last Guru, the last living Guru. All of his sons were martyred. He's, obviously his father, his great granddad, his mother was also passed away at that time. And so he lost so much, but he still kept positive, and still managed to, change the world, if you think about it, through his struggles, because he had to still go on for years and years after all of this hardship. Now, one of the things is that when it comes to depression and stuff like this, it's a universal problem. It's a universal problem. So anyone that's listened to this, although we're Sikhs talking, I'm going to bring a Buddhist on later because she wants to talk about the spirituality side later on, Jen Wallace. And you can still take something from this. Don't close your mind because you see 4 Sikhs on a panel. Like, I could listen to a channel from somebody that might be a Scientologist, and I can ignore the Scientologist bit, but they might have some precious gems on there about how they combated certain issues of life. One of the things about life, it's going to be hard, and we have to always understand that it's going to be hard. There's going to be times you're going to be happy, times you're going to be sad, and you have to accept the happiness when it comes. You have to accept. This is one of the hardest things that I had to go through, is that, why is it so bad? But then again, when I'm happy, I forget about God, but when I'm sad, I'm praying. So you only really remember why Guru, some people, when they have dukkhi. So I remember when my really bad situation happened to my family, and I was praying so hard. Once the situation kind of mellowed out, I stopped. And I mean, this is the problem with people in general, like, including myself. I try to force myself to keep on doing bad as much as I can, as much as I can. But it's just a human trait. Our demons isn't a literal devil. It's our inner kind of like ego and, attachment and stuff like that. We got to kind of defeat and stuff like that. So, Darshan,
I think
It's going to say to Shabad, it doesn't matter about the number of viewers. The content is the content. Yeah. Whether you help one person or you help 1,000 people, it doesn't matter. Yeah. As long as you get through to at least somebody. Oh, go on.
I think there's a middle ground as well, which is blissful, which is bliss. It's not sad, it's not happiness, it's not the opposite of happiness, it's not the opposite of sad. It's just that middle ground, which is bliss, and that's like contentment. And no matter what happens, it's that tranquility within inside you, and that you can always not just go back to, but where you should be staying. So even in times of dukh, in sadness and sorrow, you're able to just let it come. And when sadness goes, you let it go. Happiness, when happiness comes, you let it come. When happiness goes, you let it go. And
Naam, sorry to cut in, brother, but I just wanted to add to what you were saying, that Naam is what allows that to happen. Without the Naam, like where are we? Like before Naam came into my life, like I was clutching at anything I could, any rituals, any say this, go 3 times, wash myself, and put flowers here and that, But when Naam comes, none of that is necessary. Can I give you guys a little anecdote, if you don't mind? I do hill sprints in the morning, and I just 10 hill sprints, and like 1, 2 to 10, and I noticed how I would get slower each time. Recently, I've started to say the names of the gurus on each hill sprint. It's funny how when I get to number 5, number 6, I speed up. By number 9, I speed up again. By 10, that's the fastest. That Naam has an effect on everything we do.
Naam, for those who don't know, Naam is like it all. I mean, by the way, theoretical is very important with the practical. So in theory, understanding it, but then applying it, and making it practical, that's very important. But it's not easy to do. It is hard. So this daily, routine that we have, it allows us to get to that. So Naam, which comes from Satnam, it's the second message, if Ik Oankar, then Satnam. And Sat is this idea of truth and permanence and all that exists and doesn't exist, right? So that's Sat. And Naam is name. It also means awareness. So Naam is Satnam is like existence is his name. So, but anyway, I'm deviating slightly. But
I was gonna say to you, the show's about Bibi, Kaur, yeah. So I was gonna give you a little bit of a slow it down. Yeah, let's talk.
So Naam, so Naam Simran basically means Naam, name, Simran, remembrance. Naam Simran is awareness of its awareness, awareness of its awareness, and remembering the true one in all existence. And the experience you're having right now inside of your body, that's his Naam, that's his Naam. And when you can be aware of that, then it does help a lot.
And you know what, brother? I think the only way that I could really get to that stage where the Naam is my instinct is through Nitnim. And one thing that Auntie G has really brought to us Sahajdaris, our late adopters, is a resource of how to really learn and study Nitnim. So, please, Auntie G, what would you suggest for a later for somebody coming in new to Sikhi of how to start? What is Nitnim and how this can benefit every single day of our lives?
Well, I view Nitnim as a form of meditation, and I believe that it is very important, obviously, that we understand what Nitnim is and what it means. Nitnim Banis are, Nitnim means daily, Banis are Gurbani or our prayers. So our daily prayers, it can be daunting because it looks like our Gudka, our prayer book, is a big, huge thing. And it can be daunting to be new and want to start somewhere and not know where to start. But the most important thing is to understand what you are uttering. proficiency is nice, but you know what? The universe, God, Guru, whatever you choose to call
it,
it,
respectfully,
yes, knows what your intention is. So if you make a mistake, because I guarantee you, I make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. A bisob that's been a bisob for 50 years told me, you make mistakes every day. It's going to happen. Do not tear yourself up. Because I did. I used to really be upset. But and now I've come to accept mistakes and realize that I am human, and the goal is not to be perfect, because we are not perfect. And there's that nice little line at the end of Ardas that covers mistakes. So I'm very, very thankful for that, and every religion should have that. But beyond that, I tell students that every other day, let's say that you want to learn Sohila, which was the first Nitna Bani that I learned. It's the shortest. And it's nice to do it at the end of the day. I tell them to read it in their native tongue the one day, and the next day to attempt to do it with the transliteration, and do little bits of it, like the very beginning. Then the next day, do it in their native tongue. And on the fourth day, go back and try to get a little further in the transliteration. You don't,
like someone like me, I jumped in trying to do Punch Bani all at once.
Oh,
you
no,
know?
no.
So like after a couple of days of like training, like you're in the Olympics, well, without doing any training, you fall off. So yeah.
There are some wonderful recordings called Bani Pro, BANI space PRO on iTunes, and also
Bani
on
Pro.
Yes. And a woman is saying all of the Nitna Banis incredibly clearly. Now, there are, of course, accents in Punjabi. And for this reason, I do not recommend that you try to mimic exactly everything that you hear. You must be careful. Let's say that you have a favorite Vaisab that does Japji, and it's so beautiful, and you want to do it just like him. And so and it has music, and you get it and you try to listen to it and imitate them. You don't want to do that. You want somebody who is just uttering the words. No music, no harmonium, none of that gets in the way, because you can't hear the words when you are learning them. Also, you will get yourself attached to the notes with the words. And then what will happen once you memorize it, you will have trouble learning it with other tunes and other ways of uttering it. And that is a big trap.
Have you got these kind of tips and stuff on your channel? Or is this something that you're just disclosing?
This is I used to do a class on how to learn your Nitna Banis, and this is what this is from. I have made these mistakes. I am stuck. My slow version of Sohila, I do it that way because truck drivers request that I do it slow for their kids that are riding in the cab of the truck. It helps them go to sleep, and my husband loves it. He's a Buddhist, by the way. And so he enjoys it. He looks forward to Sohila every night. So I do it at Gurdwara, and I come home and I do it here too. And I am now stuck I will probably do it that slow and that way the rest of my life. And that arrangement is Snatam Kaur's arrangement, by the way. It's just
I think I know you're talking about something.
Yeah, it's one of her arrangements. It has been moved up to a different key. And
I think one thing I went to my Gurudwara, because it was Guru Tegh Bahadur's anniversary, and one thing I like that's happening in the Gurudwara now is that they're starting to get Gyannis and Granthis that can speak English, And so as they, because the thing is, look, we know the Punjabi language is the language, Gurmukhi is the language the Guru is used. But if you can't understand everything, then it's kind of like you're just listening to something you don't understand. So I can understand maybe 60, 70% depending on who's saying what, yeah, depending on the dialect they're from Punjab. But now that they're doing it now in English, I found it much more enjoyable. Yeah, because I was sitting, normally when you sit there, like, you start kind of wondering your mind because you don't understand everything. So I hope that's going to be pulled out in all Gurudwara, whatever country.
Maybe, but there's something to be said about, remember you're reading Gurmukhi, but you're uttering Punjabi, and the gurus left us with musical instruction, and I happen to just be in love with when we follow that musical instruction with those words. There's something really beautiful with how they come out. And when we translate something into any language, the translation is only as good as that translator.
Yeah, definitely.
And so, in Punjabi, we may have something that is 5 syllables, and then you put it into English and it's 20. And there's no way we can have it come out in that rag and sound the same way.
I think when you're actually doing Kirtan, it has to be in.
Yeah, it has to be.
It has to be in Punjabi because of the way the rhythm of the Kirtan is here and the way it's done. But I think when you're kind of like, because I watch my mum, I'm watching Katha and stuff like that, and I can understand up to a point. But if you're a new convert, it would be nice. I've actually emailed Singer TV. I said, look, you put some at the bottom like translation, because as you need to understand what's being said as well. Otherwise, you're just listening to words, that you have no
right. And so everything that my Japji, my evening prayers, everything but Sohila is in the correct rag and chant style. But
I think when you're chanting though, it's weird because you don't actually. I played that video. I might get it again of in the hospital, where they had the doctors during the coronavirus time, and they were doing the Japji, the Japji side, and like you don't even really have to understand exactly what was being said for them, for the effect to still have when you got a communal kind of prayer. Yeah, and I'll play that actually just to prove a point, because I didn't know originally it was Sikhi. I was like, what's this? Oh, this sounds really good. And I was like, why Guru's in there? I was like, wow. It was singing Ikkonkar and stuff like that. So I am actually going to get Buddhist on in around 10 minutes. So you can maybe have a little chat to Jen Wallace about meditation, because she's gone through certain things as well. Is there any, what I'm going to do, I'll put, there's questions and answers. If people want to ask questions in the chat, obviously respectful questions and stuff like that for Bibi, Priya, Kaur, and we can kind of like go through stuff. Is there anything that you kind of would say was like, when you look back now, was a kind of turning point in your life where you went from, because I know I got like a turning point in my life and I was like, wow, this is kind of like where I stopped being a victim of life and living life, like where because when you're depressed, you continuously feel like you're in a well, everyone's on top of you can't look out, it's everything's just doom and gloom, and it's everybody else's fault apart from your own. And it's only when you start to accept that, okay, this is where life is, it's my fault as well, I've got to this point because of XYZ, and it's not necessarily you can't change your life. I've changed my life. I look back and be like, well, some people say my life's miserable. I'm happy. I don't drink. I'm a vegetarian. I don't smoke. I like to argue, which is something about politics and stuff. I'm drawing as a living. I'm earning a lot less money than I did. And to the outside world, I look sadder. But I'm not. My mind is clear. Because when I used to drink, I used to be fun. I was one of those fun drunks. So people say, oh, Raj, when you used to drink, you used to be so nice. I'm like, but that was a fake Raj. That wasn't the real me. You like somebody else. You like another person called Raj. The real Raj is me. And if you don't like that Raj, that's why I cut off nearly 95% of people I used to know. I don't talk to no more, because all they wanted to know was about the drunk Raj, the guy that was fun, the drunk guy. And I was like, no, that's not me no more. So for me, it's better to be yourself and let people like you, even if it's just one person, than be fake and have 100 people like you, because those people are not really liking you.
Well, see, I never knew who I was. I was always what other people expected me to be or demanded me to be. And I got fed up and I decided, to heck with that. I need to figure out who I am because I've been given another chance at life. And I could see that I was emerging. I started liking what I saw in the mirror, but the turning point was when I realized that in my entire life, I had never trusted anybody because nobody ever gave me a reason to trust them. And that included God. That included God. And now I do not trust very many people. I really do not. However, I trust God. I really do.
How did that
I
happen?
trust the universe. I trust everything will work out. I may not like sometimes the way that things work out. I may think that it's unfair. I may be unhappy for 10 minutes or a couple of hours. I may cry occasionally. But at the end of the day, I go to bed settled. And when I wake up in the morning, it's a fresh start. It's like being reborn every single morning. I have to trust. And trust is like a breath to me. And doing the Nitin Ambani's, that is my refresher. That's how I fill up my battery for the day. And if I don't have that, then I can very easily sink back into the dark pit that I don't want to be in, and so that's why I get on that manji. I don't care how tired I am. I don't care if my body's falling apart. I don't care. That I live for that. I live for singing those.
I do think that one thing that I've started doing over the last couple of years though, is that when I'm really upset, I go sleep. And rather than making a harsh decision at the time, because sometimes so what will happen? You'll have an argument. You're like, all right, you're thinking about it, and then you want to do something. I stop myself and I'm like, all right, go sleep. And I realized when I've woken up, what I thought the night before was the end of the world.
Self-editing.
Yeah, it's like it's not really a bigger deal as you think. And the other thing, this can sound quite negative, but I don't trust no one as well. Me and you are very clear. If you ever know me, I say to people, don't trust anyone. Only trust your mother and the guru and the Waheguru. That's it. Everybody else has levels of trust. Yeah, levels. Some people are on 1, some people are on 9. But I will not give anyone apart from the person that gave me birth that full level who's in human form at the moment.
I don't even trust her.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I'm
not on my list, let me tell you.
Oh yeah, but so I got a different relationship with my mother. Yeah, so,
yeah, that's true.
So the thing is that once you learn that, it's very hard to disappoint you. Because one of the things about depression is normally people disappoint you and you feel like you've been hurt by somebody. But you always got in your head that, okay, people are human beings and they're going to be prone to social pressures. Something might have happened. They might be upset. So they might say something that will upset you. Once you accept that, I think life becomes a bit easier.
But we're programmed as a species to survive, to look out for ourselves, to be selfish in a way, right? Yeah. So it makes sense that my neighbor may do something selfish that I may not like, or that the person that I love may do the same thing, and that may hurt me because it's not in my best interest. I mean, so it really is a selfless act when we do things that benefit others and do not benefit us as well. And, so we as Sikhs particularly need to continue to give to others and to think of others first if we can, especially in those times when we feel really bad and are depressed. And I think that helps a lot. But I mean, earlier, like for me, it's the Nitin Ambani's. That's my bliss. That's the thing that brings me up. It may be drawing for another person. It may be dancing for another person. It may be yoga for somebody. It may be be, Nam Simran for somebody. It's different for different people. And because some people will say to me, they're new Sikh and they think they have to do all these things. And I'm like, okay, that's like having a huge buffet, and perhaps you only need one thing, so let's find the thing that works for you first, and then you can add those other things later.
But it's like driving a car. Like when you're having a lesson in a car, you don't suddenly start driving. If you try
no. Yeah,
the car will just fall.
Everything.
So what you need to do is to teach the person, okay, first of all, this is how you hold the steering wheel. This is how you change the gears. This is how you use the acceleration.
One thing at a time.
So slowly. So, like you have to understand when you're going into anything, it has to be a slow process. If you try to go into a car and try to drive straight away, the car's going to stall and you're just going to give up and you're going to walk out flustered. Like, oh, this is for me.
Most converts that I've met tend to be overachievers, and we study hard. So we go in and then we have the social pressure of we want to fit in. And when it looks like people aren't accepting us because they're standoffish because we're English and they don't trust the English, then we think we're doing something wrong. So we try harder. So we study more. So we do this more. So we adopt this practice. So then we go to the 5Ks quickly. Then we do this. Then we do that. And we just take on more and more because we think we are failing or we're not doing enough.
I think I had this conversation with Flexi because he said, well, I should be growing my beard. I said, look, it's your journey. Like being a Sikh is this is the obviously all of our goals here as Sikhs is to be a good Sikh. But just going into being a good Sikh because you want to show people you're a Sikh is not the way. Like if you believe in my opinion, like if you believe in, the gurus, Sri Guru Granth Sahib is a living guru and the Waheguru, that makes you a Sikh. Now, you might be on the lower end of the Sikh spectrum in terms of your journey. You're still a Sikh. So go slowly. And I've met another person.
Yeah, well, I'm preachy like that, as you can tell, like, I advise like other people to do better than I'm doing. But speaking of a British overachieving Sikh, if you don't mind, Ik Benti, Harkeet's brother G, would you mind translating for me, please, sir?
Can you translate?
I'll try my best, but I'm fairly new myself. But I mean, I'll give it a go, definitely. Yeah.
I mean, your Punjabi is better than mine and Raj's, I assume, yeah.
Yeah. So can I just say, in like couple of minutes, Jen Wallace is going to jump, and obviously she's a Buddhist. Be nice. We love our Buddhist brothers and sisters. We're all.
Well, no disrespect to Jen, but can we focus on?
Yeah. We'll do this, but after this, yeah. Go on.
Waheguru Ji. Ki Fateh, Ik Oankar Satsang Ji. We've all spoken about Vic Briggs Singh Ji. We all know about him and the animals. He has lived a life in Chardi Kala as a Guru Sikh, and at this stage in his life, with all of our best wishes, I would really like to do some seva to give thanks and to spread the story of the amazing life that he's lived and is living, and the greatness of the Guru. We've been talking about me humbly playing him in a movie adaptation of his life. And me, as a non-Amritdhari, I have the ability to play him earlier in the life as a pop star through the yoga into true Sikhi. And this is something that I'm putting out to the Sangat. So please, if anyone has got any context of who we can speak to hopefully get this rolling as soon as possible for Vic Briggs, his family, and for Satsangat in general. So please, Harkeet, if you could translate something as close to that. Thank you.
Honestly, I probably couldn't, to be honest with you, but basically.
How about you, Raj? Do you have it in you?
I think I'm not the right person to be able to do. I think I keep.
Auntie G, how's your Punjabi? All right, I guess it's English then right now. So basically, we're looking to tell the story of the great Vic Briggs Singh Ji. If anyone there wants to get in touch with us, this is an act of seva, and it's all about the greatness of Maharaj. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
So Vic Briggs, I mean, we can if you've got a kind of like a site, so I can just kind of like go over exactly who he is, and I can kind of like just like a couple of minutes to just explain exactly who he is and what.
The animals.
I've never heard of him.
I'm saying other people won't know, so if you could put a link in the side chat, I could share it.
Well, the animals were like, I don't know, Auntie G, you're of that generation. I don't know much about rock music, pop music. That's not my culture.
No, I'm
But,
not talking about the actual animal side. I'm talking about him as of today, and exactly there's a website that I can share to people about
Facebook.
Yeah.
Antion Vikram Briggs Singhji on Facebook.
I'm trying to get the link to it.
Yeah, I mean, the transformation that Uncle G has gone through. You know, he was with Yogi Bhajan in the beginning, I believe, in 3HO. You know, he's a Brit. So like me, he's from West London, like Twickenham area. I'm from Watford. So, you know, we grew up seeing Bana. I was, you know, I used to think that Singhs were Brahmins. I thought, you know, the ones with the best hats got to be at the top, right? So, you know, it's kind of ironic when you see that Nanak Ji is here to break the caste system.
So here's the Wikipedia of Vic Briggs. So you can see here is a Singh on this one, and he used to be part of a former blues and rock musician with Eric Burton and the Animals during the 1966 converted to Sikhism. Yeah, so just see. So this is Vic Briggs here, as you can see him today. But he was all right. So he converted quite young as well.
And
he's been Amradari for like 50 years.
Yeah, and he plays classical Indian and Hawaiian music now.
And his wife is non-Amradari, and I don't know if she's Sikh or not, but like they've been together all this time. My partner's also not a Sikh, you know, so it's great to see that how this is a love story between an Englishman and his guru and his lifelong wife, who was a movie star and actress.
Yeah, I think the thing is, you know, like I don't really know enough about it, but is this the same individual that's suffering from cancer, isn't it? The person that's so yeah, I mean, does he do any shows or anything? Does he come on live streams, or he's too ill at the moment to jump on or anything? Because maybe
I saw him I saw him speaking on a music discussion recently. Yeah, he's still in Chardi Kala, and you know,
maybe we can try and get him on.
I will put it out there.
I'm not sure if I'm the best person to do it, though. That's the thing, though. So,
Auntie G, I'm sure that you probably have some questions for Vikram Singhji.
Maybe. I don't know if I have any contacts. Certainly not in I don't do rock and roll. But
well, I mean, it's just if any potential producers want to get in touch and helping tell this story is just what I wanted to put out. But thank you for this time, Raj. It's very kind of you. But yeah, this is completely an act of sever to try and tell a story that a lot of an older generation British Sikhs know of. I
mean, I'll be honest with myself. I had not heard of him until you started telling me. I'd never heard of him before. I don't think I've even heard of that.
Well, your mother's generation would have heard of the first Gauda Sikh, you know what I mean? He was there in Hounslow back in the 60s or whatever.
Yeah, I'll have to ask her. I've not really asked her. I'll have to ask her.
Yeah, Flexi, I'm sure you'll find some leads. Personally, I know very few people that knows English, like even in India, like basically everybody knows English nowadays. So
to share, Priya, Auntie G. So, what is your kind of like advice to people? Like, you know, like because I remember when I was really depressed, I was like, me. Nothing's gonna come out of this. Oh, I might as well end it. And I mean, luckily for me, I kind of like always used to think about Waheguru and like my mother. I was like, I can't put her through this stress here. There are people out there that don't have any kind of spirituality, like something like, you know, to latch onto, or people around them that they want to live for. I mean, you know, because I can't really, like I said, when you're depressed, it is about me. And one of the sad things is that men tend to be, when they're depressed, tend to not talk as much, as women. Like you said earlier, you spoke to your friend, And you said you cried on their shoulder. Now, if a man says that, they look that upon, oh, what are you doing? What are you talking about? You talk to your friend about this and you're crying on their shoulder. Is there any kind of like advice you would give about?
Most cultures, you know, tell men to be strong and that there's something wrong with having emotions. But for all of us, our emotions, culture tends to invalidate our emotions, and we're told that we're not allowed to be upset or sad or mad or whatever. And I think that if we could express our emotions as they happen, then they wouldn't get all built up and fester. And because we sit around or we lay in bed all night long ruminating over stuff, a lot of times we blow things up to be so much huger than they are because they just kind of compound on each other. But one of the things that I noticed particularly about myself was that a lot of times I would be, because of that, I would be upset or sad or depressed. And if you ask me, what is wrong with you? Or why are you depressed? Number one, I wouldn't tell you I was depressed. And number two, I would be hard pressed to tell you what I was unhappy with, because materialistically, I had a house to live in. I was being fed. You know, I had everything I needed. Most people, you know, there are homeless people that would have given anything to have what I had. And people will guilt you into, how could you possibly be depressed? You know, you should be ashamed of yourself. But I think reaching out and first of all, telling yourself your feelings matter. Your feelings matter to you, first of all. You are allowed to have feelings and you are allowed to express them. And after you accept that, you need to reach out. You need to give yourself permission to reach out to a mental health professional. If you don't have insurance, a lot of municipalities, whichever country you live in, there are free mental health resources. Or perhaps you have insurance, or there is a spiritual person at a church or a temple. Even if you don't belong somewhere, there a lot of places will have, you know, will let you come in and just talk to somebody.
I mean, we have in the UK, like, one of the problems with men is that I was like this. I was like, oh, what's the point of talking to some random person? It's actually better to talk to a random person, because when you're talking to a family member, they have their own preconception, they have their own kind of like viewpoint of yourself. So I remember I was forced to go to a counselor in Mind. And Mind is free in the UK for anyone wants to know. MIND, you just phone them up and you might have to wait 3 months. So what was great is that I originally went in there as one of the biggest skeptics, like, this is rubbish, why would I want to talk to this random person? By the end of it, it was probably the best decision I made. I went back 3 times, each session was 6 times, and each person was a different person, and I spoke about them at different stages. And by the last time, I was like, okay, I'm ready to kind of move forwards. And the thing is that the greatness of being able to talk to somebody who's not related to you, who doesn't know you, is that they can't judge you according to what they think you are. They can only judge you to who they see in front of you. They're still human beings. They will judge according to what they're hearing. And they're not really there to, because when I look back, I actually didn't really speak to them. I was talking at them. But that's what I needed. I needed to offload stuff in my head to somebody that's not going to say, well, you're talking rubbish, I don't believe you, this happened that way, you're saying it happened this way, but it really happened that way. And to any men out there, because I think women have a better, let's just say, way of doing this. It's a normal kind of thing, but for a man, it's very unnatural to do that. I tried once when I was drunk once to talk to somebody, and they moved the conversation over to something else because they were uncomfortable, and I never tried it again.
Well, they're objective. That third party person, that person is objective. They don't have any skin in that game.
Yeah.
And that is what you want. I was in therapy. I did not realize that I was suffering from PTSD. I didn't know. It took many years of therapy before I even got the diagnosis of PTSD.
So when you say PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, how does that relate to the past, if you want to just kind of...
Well, you can have something called complex PTSD, CPTSD, when you have years and years of domestic violence and abuse.
Okay.
That will actually cause damage to your brain and cause some issues, and it causes flashbacks and other things to happen. And it's the same kind of damage that happens from that vets have, war vets have. And so
is that because because one of my family members on domestic violence, her husband, they're constantly in fear, like in a battle, you're constantly on edge. You're constantly thinking someone's going to shoot you or kill you. Whereas a domestic violence, somebody in domestic violence, they're constantly on tenterhooks because the person in the house with them, who they can't leave, is constantly just on the brink of smashing your face in.
Yeah. When I was a kid, I knew which doors and windows in my house were unlocked. And there were times when I strategically walked around and would unlock extra windows just in case I needed an exit. And a kid shouldn't have to do that. And as an adult, I continued to do that. And it got so bad that I would leave the house and then I would wonder, oh my goodness, did I lock every door and window? And I would come back and I would check again. And, it just hypervigilance. And then that falls into not trusting anybody, because maybe I'm going to turn around and someone's going to have a gun to my head, or maybe I'm going to turn around and someone's going to hit me or say something horrible, that's just going to get me in the gut. And so the same treatment that they were giving people at the vet center here, the VA center, was the same treatment that I got, called EMDR. And it kind of rewires the brain, and it really saved me, and it worked. And I know several other people that had that treatment, and that's the...
When you say rewire the brain, is it, we're not literally mean you're rewiring the brain, but in terms of how to navigate certain things and how you see the world and that kind? Are you talking about that, or
no? Neuroplasticity. There are, a lot of people, when you have bad stuff that's happened to you, will tell you, just move on, forget about it. You cannot. I could not, no matter what I wanted to do. I would have given anything to move on. But if I heard certain terms, or if people said certain phrases to me, it would... the way that I acted as a child in relation to that phrase would happen today. Even if I knew that person wouldn't then beat me afterwards, I would still react like I did when I was a kid, and I couldn't help myself. And so this stopped that physical reaction, because that was my brain saying, that's that same phrase that your stepdad used to say before he hit you.
Or it could be like a smell. It could be
anything.
I mean, sometimes you might have a day and you're like, wow, this day is just exactly like that day that XY. It's like a deja vu situation.
For years I didn't wear a belt because I was beat with a belt. Things like that.
Was it you don't have to go to? Was it your stepfather that used to? You okay?
Yeah, and he was a drunk, so I still have a problem with people who drink. If I go to a party and there's someone there that's drinking, the more they drink and get out of hand, the more on edge I get and alarmed, and I look like I'm scared, and so I would just remove myself. Now I'm the person that goes over and I remove that person from the party. Now I'm done. I'm not putting up with that anymore.
Yeah.
I'm just not. I'm done. So
Well, this is the thing about well, this is the thing about like one of the things is like in the Punjabi community, I think it's related to depression as well, is that there's a high problem in alcohol. Yeah, like I mean, I was in that as well. The reason I started drinking was because I like drinking. I hate alcohol. I don't like the taste of it. I don't like the after effects. I think what why yeah. I think literally gave me the worst hangovers. And the reason why it was a positive, at the time I used to hate it, because the biggest drunks I knew were people that didn't get hangovers. Because all right, so when you drink, the next day, I was literally like, it was hell for around 10 hours. I couldn't think, I couldn't do nothing. So I could not drink every day because I couldn't take the after effects. Whereas I had friends that were drunks who could drink and the next day it done nothing to them. So they got into a situation where they were drinking all the time because the next day they never got hangovers. So when at the time I used to get annoyed, like, oh, why have I get these hangovers? But now when I look back, I see it as a positive because it stopped me from drinking every day because I couldn't work and I couldn't do nothing. So with alcohol, the reason why I think a lot of Sikhs and Punjabis are drinking a lot is because it's mainly to do with depression. I mean, the reason I drank was because of anxiety. Yeah, because when I was going somewhere, all right, let me relax myself and have a drink. I hated the taste of it. Now I've stopped drinking. I've managed to be able to get other ways to stop the anxiety. Yeah. One way is to rationalize things. Like I did cognitive behavioral therapy, which makes you start thinking about, okay, why are you anxious about X, Y, Z? There's no real reason to be anxious about this. Maybe do X, Y, Z instead of whatever. And that's worked for me. So where I go places, I might, I don't drink no more, but I'll accept I'm anxious. This is normal. I'm going to a new place. There's people that I don't like there, which is the majority normally, or I don't want to talk to them because I don't want to chit chat about stuff. Just do what you're going to do and it will end at some point and you just leave. Yeah. Once you know there's an ending to something.
Well, and once you know that it's normal to have anxiety, it just looks like to us that everybody else is perfect, but they are not. Some of those people are anxious and have anxiety too. They're just hiding it behind that public mask that they put on when they leave, when they're outside of their house. And people who cognitive behavioral therapy doesn't work, they may have that and medication. And
I mean, medication's okay for a short term, but let me just show you this drawing just to show you exactly what I did this drawing about mental health, and you can see here it was about how you perceive the world to be. So just like you said, when you're going to a party, you think everyone's having a great time, and you're the one in the middle that's miserable. Yeah. In reality, this is all false. These people laughing just have a better way of covering their issues. Yeah. And so
they don't look happy to me at all.
Yeah, I mean, they don't look happy to me. When I used to see people laughing, I used to hate it. It looked horrible, like they were like jokers. I never really. So when I did the drawing, I wanted them to look like they're mocking almost. They're mocking, because that's how, when you're depressed, you feel like everyone's rubbing it in your face of how happy they are. But in reality, these people here that you see laughing, once that laugh's gone and they're by themselves, we don't know what they're thinking. Yeah, we don't know how sad they are. And so this is what you need to start getting into your own head. That, when I used to walk down the road, I'd see people like laughing, and I'm like, why are you laughing for? What is so good that you're laughing? But I don't know what's happening when they walk around the corner and they're by themselves. That laugh could just be a facade, and they go around the corner and they're sad. Yeah.
Well, some people are happy, but a lot of people have masks on, and what I decided I wanted to do with my second chance is I wanted to be authentic, whatever that was, even if people didn't like it. And plenty of people didn't like it and don't like it. And I do care what people think, but I can't let that stop me.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing that I have a lot with me. I have a lot of people meeting me, haven't seen me for a long time. They say, Raj, I liked you before. You was quite happy-go-lucky. I said, but that wasn't me. They say you're miserable now. I said, yeah, but this is me. If you don't like this Raj that, you know, is the way I am now, you didn't like the Raj before, because my true friends that really knew me, who had known me for my, always knew I had that side to me. And I said that, they used to say, oh, Raj, you know, that's the truth. You, I said, yeah, but I have to drink to get thingy. So this is the thing, you have to live your life in honesty, yeah, with a good amount. There are certain things. I'm a terrible person. I've accepted I'm a horrible person to live with. Yeah, I'm very hard to get along with, and I make it very clear to people I am. Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. And if you can't accept it, you just move on, man. No one's forcing you to be around me. No one's forcing you, apart from your family, who have to tolerate you, to be with me or speak to me. And if you can't accept me with my negatives and positives, we have to part ways. And that's what I've done with a lot of people.
Yeah, you have to do what's right. Sometimes, you know, Sangat is very important in determining your happiness, and Sangat is very important. And if you're surrounding yourself with people that are on a spiritual path, 9 times out of 10 you're gonna be like that as well. If you're hanging around with people that are murderers and criminals, 9 times out of 10 you're gonna be a criminal as well. So Sangat is very important.
I mean, I think it's the most important thing, because I started realizing when I stopped drinking how many people I actually hated. I know it sounds weird, because the only conversation was, Raj, let's meet up for a drink. When I stopped drinking, phone call stopped. And I started realizing these people were not really my friends. They never asked me about XYZ or the family. They never cared about me. All they wanted was a drinking partner. And it's better to have one person that is a true friend than have 50. So I can barely count on my hand the people that I consider to be really good friends that I would trust. And it's barely on one hand. And I prefer that than having hundreds of people you know, yeah, who you think of. And can I just introduce Jen Wallace here, our Buddhist friend here? Jen Wallace, is there a question you want to ask? If you just want to introduce yourself first, Jen Wallace, to Auntie G.
Hello, how are you? Nice to meet you.
Easy enough. Our Buddhist friends.
I'm sorry, I don't know the Sikh formalities on how to call.
You say Sasrikal or something. You say, all right, hey.
The Buddhist formality.
Yeah.
I would call you Aya for, or Bante for a male monastic, or Aya for a female.
What is the hello in Buddhism, though? I don't know, actually.
I don't know. They just do the namaste formation with their hands, you know. So we don't really say that, but it's just, you know, if you close your hands and just do a head bow, there's not really words as far as, you know, the temple that I go to. But yeah, I'm listening, and there's so many things that I can definitely relate to as far as the story that you know, that she's given, and it's great for me to see more Europeans indulging in Eastern faiths. So that makes me very happy. I am also a former member of the Abrahamic faith, so I understand, you know, the change in culture and the change in just the outlook on spirituality. The outlook is completely, it was for me night and day. When I was introduced to Buddhism, I was at a time in my life where, you know, also I was going through a horrible divorce. And I was basically, you know, I suffered anxiety most of my adult life, and I was able to meditate myself off of all anxiety pills and get through the entire thing with no counselors or, you know, like episodes or anything. So yeah, it's such an important you know, part of my life, and I'm appreciative that, you know, and happy to see that other people are, you know, getting there. So yeah.
And you saw her husband who fixed the computer was a Buddhist as well. Not only
bless him.
Buddhism as well. And this is the thing here, like I think Jen Wallace has learned the hard way that when it comes to spirituality, I think the Dharmic faiths have really got it nailed down in terms of the balance of spirituality and what you call kind of like the routines of a daily thing about being religious and stuff. And some people don't really understand that, you know, within the Dharmic faiths, we do have a connection. That's why they call the Dharmic faiths, yeah, in terms of how we see the afterlife, karma and stuff like this. Now, is there anything that you want to ask Auntie G specifically about her journey and stuff? And how she kind of goes through depression on mental health? What are you doing? Are you beating someone up? What's that noise? Is Akira? Is that you?
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you fall down?
Akira, that's
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh.
No, I'm back.
Huh?
So it's like he chucked his phone down a flight of stairs.
I'm asking if he's dancing because he's like whacking about. This is the thing about Akira that he's a very good boy, but sometimes he misbehaves, man. All right, so gentlemen, is there anything, and you can say if people want to ask questions in the chat here, because I need to log out. Now the reason I have to go at 8:30, I don't mind leaving the stream up because I'm watching Ramayana at 8:30, yeah, which is the Hindu thingy with my mum. It's actually quite an interesting story.
Well, Auntie G, please, I don't want to bring any drama to this wonderful conversation we've had, but you know, there's a lot of people who get off on drama, and they are all about the you know, the ins and outs of these conflicts. And all I really know of this Jen person is her apologizing for Hatun getting struck. I wonder if you're still making apologies for women getting beaten up.
No, Flexi, I beg you, man. I beg you.
That's all I know of her.
No.
Is that she apologizes for lots of bad stuff online.
Please, I beg you.
Lots of bad stuff.
Hold on.
So why is she here when she's that type of person that I see all the time?
Please, I'm begging you, Flexi.
Come to my show tomorrow. Come to my show tomorrow. And I'm more than happy to explain.
So please be warned, Auntie. Thank you, G.
Oh God, we went through the whole show. Such good.
Yeah, that was unnecessary.
Right, so let me explain.
Unnecessary? Well, no, I would say that is totally necessary because all I know of you is that you have apologized and tried to make excuses for women being beaten at speed.
Okay, I'm gonna have to really make a decision now, and let me just get me an auntie on the screen. Yeah, please, I'm begging you. Yeah, today I want to keep it positive about mental health. Me and Jen Wallace had a tumultuous kind of like ins and outs at one point, and then what happened is over the last couple of weeks or months, I think she's got to a point where she's starting to change her mind, and she said a few things in the past that she probably doesn't agree with now. So I'd appreciate, please, man, let's keep this positive. Sorry about that, Jen Wallace. Sorry, I didn't realize there was an issue between you and Flexi about that. Like I said, you know, tomorrow she's doing a show on her channel, and we'll kind of go through that if you want on that, but not on here, because I want to keep the show specifically about depression. And as much as I love drama, you know, because everyone knows I'm the drama queen around here, the drama king. I like to argue and stuff. This is not the place for that. So sorry, Jen Wallace. Big up to Flexi as well. I think, you know, he hasn't really spoken to her for a while. So one of the things is I just want to quickly just get onto a good side. Let's just get my mother involved, because let's get the thing back on the thing. Because what it is here, one of the things is that I started drawing after a long time, and a documentary was done about me. I'll just play a little bit of the documentary again. So I'm not sure if you saw it. So what I did, I started drawing to get myself out of depression. Yeah. So this is my thing. Oh my God, I can't. So I had not drawn for 13 years, and I went to drink and stuff. And what I realized is that art is something that is like meditation for me. I can zone out, and I'm so thankful to Waiguru that not only can I draw, he's allowed me to have an imagination so I can put forward my view of what Sikhi and the artwork and stuff. That's my
mum's impacted me in every way. So, you know, obviously I see my mum as the person that I've always respected. I think she does these little flower drawings, and she's always done this. I always just look at them, they're not your traditional kind of drawings. They're kind of more patterns, but there's still an artistic element to it.
Only I'm proud of his Sikh artwork, because as I am religious also, I like only religion thing. Then
what do you want me to change on there?
She's very straightforward, and that's a very good trait to have, and it's not very common. She knows what she wants, and in terms of my artwork, that's great.
It's small. Make a little bit big.
You want me to make the diamond a bit bigger?
Yeah.
When I show my mum, there's nothing like when your mum's appreciative of a particular kind of artwork. If she sees it and doesn't like it, she'll keep on telling me to tweak it, and she's very stubborn as well. So a bit like me, she won't let it go until I've actually resolved that particular issue. That's actually Guru Gobind Singh Ji, the 10th Guru. He's probably the biggest inspiration for me. I've done lots of drawings of him, because without him, the Sikhs would not be the way we are, with the turban, with the beard, with the warrior kind of stance. It's all to do with him. Yeah, I'm trying to live by his kind of ethos, which is, defend the weak and live a pious life.
Have you seen this temple? It's one of the most beautiful temples in the UK.
I've been a cultural Sikh. So when I say cultural, I mean I wasn't really religious. I always respected the history because my mum told me, and I always respected.
So the reason I'm showing that is because, it kind of shows my relationship with my artwork, and how, for me, I think Waheguru has kind of like, given me an outlet. And I do feel sad when I hear people say they've got no hobbies or something to distract themselves with, because, being able to distract yourself from the world's problems, with something, because when you draw, it may be like music. When you draw, you're so focused that even if the world's blowing up, you're zoned out. It's almost like in a meditative kind of state, And this is something that, I wish I could transfer over to my prayers as well, because I know when I'm drawing, I'm like totally zoned out. But even with my prayers, is there any kind of tips you would give to people about how to zone yourself out whilst praying, doing prayers and meditation? To yourself, Auntie G.
Well, there are times when one of the reasons why I recommend that people go to Gurdwara and do group prayer, especially with the Nitnam Banis, that's a wonderful opportunity to do that, is because the environment is more quiet. You usually don't have the harmonium and the tabla getting in the way. And there are usually children and noise in the kitchen and all these other things trying to distract you. And this is a beautiful opportunity to start practicing pushing those noises away, because you do have to keep up with your peers. You're moving along at a nice pace, but you're looking, most people, at your phone or your gutka, and you're pushing away these other things, the children running by and playing airplane and all these other things, and babies crying in the kitchen, and eventually over time it becomes much, much easier. There are many times in the morning now, because it's been 3 years of every single day and every single evening, where there I am, I'm doing Japji Sahib, and I get to the end, I'm on the slok, and I'm wondering, wait a minute, I'm already here, but my favorite part, what happened? Did I miss it? Did I not sing it? What happened? And then I realized that, I did do it. Obviously I did it. And I wonder, oh my goodness, I mean to care about every single word. I want to hug every single word when I utter it. And I feel kind of bad that that it went by and I didn't notice it consciously. But then I realized that subconsciously I did notice it, because if I hadn't, it wouldn't have come out of my mouth at all. And so then I know that I have internalized that, Bonnie. It is in here now, and I don't need to worry about it. Yes, did I miss my favorite area? Yeah, I did. But
also, it's a story about not being too hard on yourself.
Yeah, you can't be too hard on. Am I learning it fast enough? Am I? How come it is that everybody else seems to be so okay with all this noise, and I'm looking around and I'm thinking about my job or my boss or my wife or my husband or my kid or whatever, or wow, me and this person next to me started learning this thing at the same time, and they've already memorized it, and I am having problems. Different people have different learning methods. They learn at different speeds. They have different things happening in their lives.
And I think another thing is that links to jealousy as well, because the thing is sometimes people, the reason why they feel like they're depressed is because they're jealous of what they see the other person having.
But if we're looking better than me. If we're looking at that other person and we're comparing them to ourselves, we get back to ego, right?
Yeah.
I mean, ego really plays into everything we do.
I mean, one of the things is, I give an example. When I started drawing, I was looking at two nearby artists, and I was looking at them and going, wow, how did they get there? But now I was like, I haven't drawn for 13 years. I can't expect to be to that stage, yeah? And I was getting envious and looking at their artwork, and all it was doing was literally drawing me back, because I was trying to be them, not me. Yeah. And what I realized when I stopped looking at that artwork in the way I still look at it, but I don't look at it. It's like, okay, I want to get to that stage. I just did what I had to do. And I've got to a stage now where I think, I'm at a pretty good stage where I'm happy with my own style. And that's the same lesson can be taught about life as well. Like, if you keep on trying to want to be that other person, you're never going to be them. Yeah.
You're not meant to be.
What you're going to do is you're going to be a fouled version of them, or a lesser version of them, because they're their own unique person. So what you need to do is to carve your own path out, whatever that's going to be, but in life, yeah, or in general, just carve your own path out. And you've got to stop worrying, because a lot of people say to me, "Oh, Raj, your life is terrible." To you, it's terrible. Yeah. When I had money and I was working a job where I was earning thousands of pounds, and it looked like I was miserable then. To you, because the problem with people, they have their own kind of like box of what they think happiness should be. Anybody that strays out of the box is either seen as a pariah of society or somebody that is just a lunatic or mad. Oh, you want to be an artist, do you? Oh, you must be crazy. You think you're going to, make billions. Well, if you think you're going into art for billions, you're never going to be an artist. You got to do things because you love to do it. And the money and the success and the happiness will come after. But if you go in it for that, you're always going to be unsatisfied in the overall thing. So just get your thing. So do you want to say something, Hakidis? Because I know you want to.
Yes. So
put your camera on, man. Put your camera on.
No, it's cool. No, so soon.
Put the camera on. Put the camera on. Camera.
I'm going to see you soon. Right?
No, everyone wants to see your.
Yeah, I can't see his turban.
Yeah, put it on. Put it on.
Thank you. No, you know what it is.
You spend all that time tying it, and no one can see it.
Yeah. Now soon, man. But you know what it is like. I would say, to experience, bliss, what is the aim for all of us is that I'll break it down to 3 or 4 things, and that's it. I'd say firstly, recognizing, desires, and when anger comes into you, or greed, or just recognizing it, because the longer you hold on to it, your desires and these things, the longer you hold on to them, whether it's consciously or unconsciously, the longer and deeper your suffering will become. And so that's the first thing I'd say. The second thing I'd say is letting go of your sense of control. So, Hari in Anniversay read, Anand Pya Meri Mai Satguru mein paya, Satguru ta paya, Sej Seti Man Fajiya Badaya. Anyway, it carries on, but he's saying that always remain, e man meria tu sada raho har nale, O mind of mine, e man meria Sadaraho Haranale, always remain with Hari. Hari means the blossoming one, the flourishing one, the flowering nature of oneness. That's Hari. And when you can learn and practice to accept this, you can say surrender, moment by moment surrender, then you become happier. And I'd say we've been through, to sort of summarize, we've been through letting go of attachments and control of things. So they, and also I'd say to stop identifying with the body and mind. So this concept of always, Guruji started off the first message is ik, yeah. So that's very important. The very first message is ik, and until you don't understand the mul, and you won't understand the Bani, the words of the Guru, the scripture. You won't understand it until you understand, Mool Mantar and or Japji Sahib, and you won't understand Japji Sahib until you understand Mool Mantar, and you won't understand Mool Mantar until you understand Ik. So Ik is very important, and from then you can stop identifying with the body and mind. And I'd say another thing is to give up expectations and accept reality. So giving up, we've been through that, giving up expectations to accept hukam, to accept reality.
Reality, yeah. I think that's probably because what it is. I need to shut in 10 minutes. I want to ask Auntie G a couple of questions that people are putting into the chat. But I think one message I would say to people is accept reality. The problem is once you accept
it's hard though. It's not easy to do.
No, it's not easy. It took me, trust me, it's not hard. I had to go through a lot to accept reality and go, okay, this is what God has meant for me, and to accept that, this is who I am, this is the person that I am. And if people don't like me, I don't care. And this is why a lot of people don't like me, because I'm like, all right, this is what I'm like. If you don't like it, I'm not here to please you. I'm here to please. Mate, I want to be happy. I want my mum to be happy. Obviously. Oh God, cat's just coming here, and I want to please Waiguru. Now the thing is, I've got a couple of questions for because I need to wrap up in 10 minutes. If anyone else has got a question for Auntie, can I just ask this? So this is from obviously Jen Wallace, our resident Buddhist, who unfortunately come at the wrong time. Sorry, Jen. Sorry, Jen. I didn't know that was going to big up to Flexi as well. She made a great point about singling out emotions and acknowledge them for what they are. Is this something that Gurus taught? In Buddhism, we call this practice noting. So if any of you, first give it to Auntie D, and then if Hakid, you want to answer it as well, that's up to you.
Yeah, cheers.
I know that the Gurus did talk about emotions. I'm not sure if they talked about acknowledging them, but I do know that there was a lot of discussion about emotions being fleeting, that they're temporary, and that all things that are temporary, whether they're things that are tangible or intangible, are things that we shouldn't really concern ourselves with and become attached to. Those are attachments that we don't carry on with us when we pass on. And so the only thing that we need to be concerned about is Waheguru or God and our relationship there. That is the only thing that continues. Therefore, that is the only thing that we should really be concerned about. And therefore, that is the only relationship that we should care who cares anything about us, or, oh, that person doesn't like me anymore because I'm not drinking or doing drugs, but that's okay because I'm okay with this relationship over here. That's how we should do that. Or
I see in the background you got two dogs here, and I think dogs are some of the most amazing creatures to put on now. Because one thing I've seen about, because my sister had dogs, is that their kind of like ability to be able to bring you out of the most depressive state by just licking and jumping on you is amazing. I've been in times where I was miserable and the dog would just run in. I was around my sisters and they would just jump on you, and like the unconditional love they show you. They don't care who you are. or if you're this, as long as you treat them good, they'll treat you back good, which is the kind of concept of how you should live your life. Treat people how you're going to be treated. You treat the dog good, they're going to give you a lot of love back. You treat it bad, yeah, they might be a little bit aggressive towards you, or may not show.
I was blessed with the presence. We had a Gudwada cat, a cat that lived at the Gudwada, and her name was Amrit. And the internet, the Facebook followers named her. And that cat followed us on the property as we sang our morning Nitnambanis, as we walked and meditated, and was just always there. And that cat really made a difference. It seemed as if that cat knew what we were saying to it. There were times I was not allowed to let the cat in the Gudwada. However, sometimes I would leave the door open in the morning, and it would just be me in the building, and I would look up, and she had come in and come through the doors and sat just inside on the women's side and sat there properly during the entire morning Nitnambanis. And when they ended, she turned around and excused herself and went outside and waited. And, all I could think was reincarnation exists.
Yeah.
This cat was meant to be here. This is a sick. This cat is here for a reason. And
that would tie into our next
I had to treat that cat like I would treat a Sangat member. I mean, I had no choice.
That's perfect, because the next show I want to do in the future, if you can turn out, is to talk about reincarnation. Because I've had a similar situation. A doggy that was being abused come to the family because it was abused. It was a very aggressive dog, and I used to hate that dog. But then I fell in love with that dog. Yeah, and I think it come at a time where the family needed her because of problems, and it died when the family was at peace. Like things had dissipated. It was almost like it come at the exact time, and even the family was like, "Wow, imagine if." We called her Gucci if she wasn't there during that time. So many times we had issues and she just come out. And one weird thing is that I don't know whether it's something to do with their smell, but they can smell illnesses in a way, because my sister's leg was paralyzed and it used to always kind of try and touch that leg and stuff. And it was just so weird how these kind of animals that people just see as dogs and cats here play such an important role in our lives when you have them as pets and stuff. So would you be willing to come back in the future and talk about reincarnation and maybe some of your experiences with cats and dogs, and maybe just generally about this, and just kind of extend this conversation? It's up to you though.
Sure.
Okay. Imagine if she said no. It would be like I'm just saying, imagine if I asked you, he was like, not really. I think this might be my last time on it.
I mean, I focus all of my energies on the Nitnambanis. I mean, if I could only read just one little thing, it would be, of course, the Ik, and then the Mul Mantar, and then Japji Sahib. But really, everything I need is in my Gudka. It really is. And that's like the Guru Granth condensed right there. That's where I focus all of my energy. So, but I do a lot of study, in the entire Guru Granth and in the other Granths. So, in different topics when they come up. But your questions cause me to have to go and read things I might not have encountered, because I am still learning. We are all still learning. Learning. We are not evolving as people, which means we are not moving along the spiritual path. We are just standing there watching.
And the thing is that, people, if you don't know something, don't pretend. Just admit you don't know it. I've had a lot of conversations with people they will say something, I didn't really know. I just thought that, you can read into something and check. If somebody asks me about Sikhi and I don't know, I just say, I don't know. And they go, it's better to admit your shortfalls than to kind of put a facade up, because you're going to fall over. That facade's going to go down at some point anyway. It's like a fake. A person who's fake, at some point they can put that facade up for as long as they can. One day it's coming down. It might take a year, it might take 10 years or 30 years. So what's the point?
Well, you can't walk the path of truth if you are not truthful, if you are not genuine, authentic. You can't walk this path successfully.
Well, this is what I say to people. You know, people say to me, "Oh, Raj, we're going to expose you." I was like, "Expose what?" Everyone knows what I'm like. It's not like I'm one person with the Gyanni, that I'm another person over there with my mother. Everyone knows I'm this type of guy that, you know, just going to speak his mind. So it's very hard for people to understand, because a lot of people have a fake facade with different people. And I'm the same person whoever I meet. Obviously, I put more respect depending on who I'm meeting, because I'm not going to go in front of a Gyanni and speak XYZ, but I'm still the same person. Whatever views I have politically or religiously, I'm going to have the same views. And so this is how, you know, people who don't have a facade, who don't have this fake persona, you know, don't need to be stressed out about being found out. Like a lot of people have said to me, Raj, we're going to expose you to the community. And they really know what I'm like here. It's that there's nothing you can expose about me, because I'm out there already. I'm going to be wrapping the show up here. You say one bit, and I want to leave Auntie to say the last bit anyway. Is there anything you want to say while we wrap up?
If I start, I won't stop talking. I just want to say, though, you know, thank you for having me. Hopefully I can jump on again. To answer some of your questions. And Jen Wallace, definitely, I want to get back to
tomorrow because she got a show on her show tomorrow on Jen Wallace's. Hopefully Flexi doesn't come on and start arguing with the Flexi. Then what we'll do is we'll go and we can talk about the spirituality stuff and all that kind of stuff.
Another thing I would say is I'm not, you know, like me personally, I can quote to you so many verses off by heart, but the meaning of it, you know, like I could translate it, the literal translation, but the meaning of it, like I don't even know the meaning of like the first page. I don't know the meaning of the first page, but I can translate you many verses. But I'm still learning, and you know, I'm learning about every word for word what it means, and I'm studying it like I would, like I'm in school, you know. So I'm very new to it myself, and you know, it is a learning path for me.
Anything you want to say about people that are maybe feeling depressed and down at the moment, you know, or maybe feel like, you know, this is like, you know, everything that's happened is going to be like this forever. Remember, it doesn't. Things change drastically. If I look back 10 years ago thinking I was going to be at this stage, although I'll be like, never. Like, I mean,
I would say so happiness, I would say we need to focus on being grateful for what we have in our life and seeing it as a blessing. You know, if we only focus on our expectations, we will be disappointed. So happiness is not what you receive, it's how you react to what you receive, and that's what I believe. And you know, like I said, I'm still learning. You know, like Anand Sahib, for example, it's one of the daily prayers we do twice, one in the morning and one before, you know, like in the evening time. And it is very important. The first, you can say the first verse or the first couple verses, that's all I know the meaning of, but the whole scripture is like steps on how to get there. So I'll very quickly just tell you what I understand from just 2 verses, right? So in Anand Sahib, the Song of Bliss, Guruji starts with a statement of celebration. Anand Bhaya, bliss has emerged, or euphoria has emerged, which is not dependent on your 5 senses or external circumstances. Why was bliss found? He says, because Satguru mein paya, because I have found Guruji. Guru is the transformation of the mind, that is Guruji. And so I don't want it, Guru itself, the word Guru is like so big, it's like an entire show on itself. And you know, that's why
we obviously if you want to talk about something, you can text me, obviously, and you can tell me, look, do a show on this, and I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to host it.
Thank you so much for that. And very soon I would like to. When I'm a bit more knowledgeable in this thing. But what I'd say for those people who are, you know, who need it, I'd say, so Guruji says, as a result of founding Guruji, you know, the transformation of the mind, you know, tranquility came, you know, we're not hypnotized to each and every thought that comes, our emotions, our circumstances, we're not strapped or agitated by change as it's happening. We observe it, but then, you know, and Guruji says, he says so many things, but another thing I'd say is that, you know, to live in gratitude, you know, stop worrying about what's absent in life, start celebrating, start praising what you do have. And, you know, Naam, everything is Naam. And when you start to understand these key words, then it really makes a difference. Another thing is, you know, Guruji says, Eman Meria Sada Raho Har Nale, remain with the blossoming, the flourishing, flowering nature of oneness, Hari. Learn and practice to accept this and expect change. Expect change and resist less, And Guruji says, Angi karo kare, tera karaj sab swarna. In difficult situations, the one will solve all your deeds. He will solve all your deeds. And this doesn't mean that your situations will be different. No, your situations may still be the same, but now your response is different. Your response difficult situations, you trust everything is good because you see that all is God. And so, yes, you make change if you must, but you don't put your joy in that change. Rather, you put your joy in the present moment. And so what I see a mantra is like a trigger word or like a phrase. It's a technique which helps us to remember and bring us back to reality. And one mantra that I really personally like is Dohi, this is you, this is you. Actually, each and every moment when I'm brushing my teeth, this is you, you know, Dohi always. And Guruji says, you know, Sada Raho Har Nale, you know, Guruji, the enlightened mind says, oh my mind, always remain with Hari, the blossoming one.
Okay. Big up to you, Hakirat. I need to chuck you out now. I think that's a good stage to end your thingy. If you want to do a conversation about something, you know where to text me. So I'll say, Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji yourself.
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
All right, so it's just me and Auntie G left now. So obviously, what we'll do is I just want to give you a couple of minutes or however long you want to take, just to kind of maybe second question: if somebody feels like they're kind of like in a state of their life that, you know, nothing's going to change and everything is doom and gloom, and, you know, no matter what they do, it's just pointless. Yeah, which I think a lot of people have got to that stage in their life, and I think, you know. People that have got to that stage and gone through it are the best people to advise on it, because I've gone through that stage and done it, and I'm through it. I know I'm through it. And so is there anything that you want to say on that in terms of, hey, what advice you'd give to somebody?
Well, echoing what we just heard, there is the past, and there is today, and there's tomorrow. We spend far too much time looking back at the past and thinking about the past and lamenting about it and crying over it and being angry and everything else. And a lot of time looking way ahead and worrying about something next month, next year, whatever, that we have no control over, and not enough time on today and being grateful for what we have today. And it's okay to glance back at the past and say, oh, yeah, I learned about that thing back there. But if we are moving forward, if we want to move forward and get out of the muck that we are in today, if you try to walk forward and you are constantly turning around like this, you are eventually going to fall flat on your face somewhere, because you're not looking where you're walking. So you can't be doing that. You can glance back real quick, but you've got to be looking forward. So when I get up in the morning, I think about today. I thank God. So thank whatever you believe in, even if it's just yourself. But a lot of people don't believe in themselves. So thank your mother, thank God, thank Waheguru, thank whatever, the universe. that you were breathing right then, because there were a lot of people that didn't make it through the night. You did for a reason. You were meant to be there that morning. And just try to have a better day today than you had yesterday. Just pick one little goal, a little one, not a big, huge goal, just one small little thing to do better on. And one of the things that I like as a sick, and I know a lot of people might find this one difficult, but if you do your Nityam bodies or even listen to them, Jap Sab, you know, these are the attributes of Waheguru. But think about this. If these are the wonderful attributes of Waheguru, and they go on and on and on, if you've tried to sing this or chant it, it goes on and on and on. It says wonderful things. And Waheguru is you and is in here. Those are your attributes. And if you do that every morning, it's like positive affirmations. I am wonderful. I am beautiful. I'm a creator. I'm this. I'm that. I'm the other. Because Waheguru made us, and Waheguru is part of us. And if Waheguru is all these wonderful things, then how can we be something different than all those wonderful things? And that was one of the things that really helped me, because I went, oh, that makes sense to me. And, you know, I'm still learning I've got about 75% of Jap Sab down, that in part I'm having some difficulty with. My mouth just doesn't want to cooperate with me. But I sing the first part, and I of course listen to the rest of it. I try every day. I add a couple of more words, and but I think about, you know, what can I do today, and which one of these attributes am I going to work on today? Am I going to be not so testy as I was yesterday? Am I going to have a little more patience? Am I going to try to have more energy? Am going to try to have a better outlook? Am I not going to eat another, what I call a COVID cookie today? Am I going to be a little more honest about what my needs are, instead of just cramming them down my throat and letting people dump stuff on me and take advantage of me? You know,
I just want people to know it's okay to feel sad sometimes.
It is. It's normal.
This is the thing, yeah. The problem I had before is like when I was sad, it's like, oh my God, it's going to go on. But the thing is, like, once you realize that, look, being sad and being happy are the two things that you have to accept. You're going to be happy and you're going to be sad. You can't have one without the other. Correct. They're going to come at some point, and you've got to accept it. If you can accept the happiness, you're going to have to accept the sadness, because your life is not always going to be hunky-dory.
All of these emotions are valid, or we wouldn't not be able to have them. They're part of who we are, that our mind makes them. They're natural, and different people just have them in different amounts. And, you know, it's just the way, it's accepting that most of us don't think we're normal. We don't know what normal. It's hard to talk about an intangible normal, right?
It's actually good not. I'm going to even say one thing. It's good not to be normal. Yeah.
I don't want to be like you.
Normal is boring. Yeah. Normal is boring. You don't want to be a sheep. It's best to be. A lot of people call me weird. I'm like, yeah, I'm weird. I'm not the king of the weirdos. Like, you know, I'm the leader of the weirdos. Like, embrace who you are and just say, okay, this is how Waheguru made you. The thoughts and the thing. All you can do is try and better yourself as a person, and to try and not make other people's lives miserable by your existence. Yeah, like, you don't want to run causing harm upon others. I don't know, Hakirat's back again. I don't know what he wants to do now. Go back again, Hakira.
No, I just wanted to quickly add one thing. But it was about Guru Tegh Bahadur ji, and you know, I feel like it was very. I should have mentioned it actually. Well, I would really like to mention it. Is that you know, because basically, in script, Guruji says, Raj Yoga Takata Dian Guru Ramdas. Yeah, Raj Yoga Takata Dian Guru Ramdas. The yogi king is Guru at that time was Guru Ramdas, and as the guruship was passed on, all that wisdom was passed on to the next Guruji, and so they had everything that the previous Guruji had, as well as their own stuff, and they passed it down. And I want to share a quick one about Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji and at his time. So from what I understand, at Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji's time, what happened was all the Mughals at that time were asking the local people. They were giving them a choice. They were saying, you convert or we'll kill you. This is the only choice that we're going to give you. You convert or we're going to kill you. And the local people at that time said, whatever our elders will do, we will do. Whatever our elders do, we'll do. Go convert them and we'll convert as well. If they don't convert, we won't convert. And so then the Mughals, they went to, in every single neighborhood, they went to their elders in every single neighborhood. And then they said to them, convert or kill you. And then they said, whatever our priests, our seniors will do, whatever our spirit, whatever our seniors or spiritual masters of this particular spiritual school of thought, whatever they will do, then we will also do. And so like that, one by one, the Mughals, they went to all of the spiritual schools of thought in India at that time. They went to the highest spiritual masters of every spiritual school of thought in India at that time, and they said, convert or we'll kill you. And at that time, the response they gave was that the spiritual master of the whole of India, of the whole of this land, the yogi king of kings of the whole of the land, the spiritual master, is in the house of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, and whatever he will do, whatever Guru Tegh Bahadur will do, the whole of India will do. If you can convert just him, then the whole of India will do whatever he will do. And so what happened? So basically, they went to then Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji and they couldn't convert him. So in India today, he's known in India, in schools they teach it, in everywhere you go, Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji is known for having saved the whole of Hinduism and Buddhism. Buddhism or Hinduism, it wouldn't exist if it wasn't for Guruji. And so today, the yogi king of the whole world, not just India, the yogi king of kings today, the spiritual master of the world, is Guru Granth Sahib Ji, Dan the great, is the blessed great king, Dan Shri Guru Granth Sahib Maharaj Ji. And that's all I wanted to add to that. But hopefully we'll delve deeper into it soon. And thank you again for having me. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Yeah, and so I mean that's a good note to kind of like wrap up, because Guru Tegh Bahadur was kind of what I was speaking about in the beginning. It'd be good to kind of like wrap it up with Guru Tegh Bahadur. So with yourself, before we kind of move on, is there anything one last thing you want to say to anybody, or any kind of advice? Obviously we'll get you back, so don't worry everybody, we'll have her back if she wants to. Obviously it's her choice, so we'll do more shows in the future. Next one I'd like to do about reincarnation, to be honest. I think that would be a great topic.
Thank you for having me.
Do you know what? One of the things, the reason why I want to talk about reincarnation, because it's actually the one thing that made me realize Sikhi is true. Like when I think about the afterlife, and I'm like, okay, if God was truly compassionate, merciful, and not vindictive, he would give his creation another chance. He wouldn't just put them in an oven and burn them for eternity. And so that's why I could never really go up to the Abrahamic faith for that core principle. Because if a mother's merciful, when the kid misbehaves, she's not gonna, kill the kid. She's gonna maybe chastise them, and the kid will have another chance to make the mistake again, but they're given another chance. And that's why reincarnation is sort of incomparable to that. Yeah. So I'd appreciate you coming back for that. Any last words of wisdom? Everyone loved your, some people are saying they would like to be, this last Scarlet Fox said, I wish I believed in God. I want to be a Sikh. Look, we won't chastise you as an atheist, but, look into Sikhism if you want. We're not the kind of faith that pressures people, but you know, like just look into it, and maybe God will come to you once you've looked into Sikhism.
My son is an atheist, and I still love him.
Yeah. The atheists are a little bit lost, but we don't hate you. We want to
No. Part of their journey is what is happened where they are right now. They're meant to be there on their journey.
And maybe they haven't heard of a merciful and loving God. Maybe their perception of God is something that has been propagated.
Or they've given up because they've looked and they didn't have that relationship that they felt was one-on-one. I always wanted it, and it just never happened. And I was envious of others, and I thought they had drank the Kool-Aid, and I wanted to know, either could I have the Kool-Aid or could I knock the Kool-Aid bucket over? And now it appears that I drank the Kool-Aid.
The thing is, I get a lot of stick here because I got an eclectic group of friends here. One's a transgender, other one's gay. I've got lots of atheists that are friends, and some of these atheists behave better than religious people, and people get angry when I say that. But I'm like, dude,
it's true.
These guys here are not doing things for another reason. They're doing it because they're trying to be good people. So some people are just feeding people because, oh, this is what I think my God wants me to do. Whereas some people are feeding people because they think this person's hungry.
Well,
and I want to
be a good human. Be a good human. That's really what Waheguru wants us to do. Be a good human to ourselves and to other people. The end. That's it.
Yeah. So I have a lot of, your friends are all, you don't have a lot of Sikh. I have Sikh friends, but I don't base my friendship upon being Sikh. I base it upon who do I get on with and do they have a similar mindset. And some of the best people I've met, and some of them, two people are even more moral than religious people. Have been atheists here, and it's sad to say that. We should actually be embarrassed that some atheists are making religious people look bad because they're living a moral life without God in their life per se.
Actions.
They're not doing it. Yeah. So through their actions and stuff. So I think he kind of understands that it's basically your behavior and your actions are going to be much more important than what faith you belong to. And I think that's the message of Guru Nanak
or
Dev.
what you say.
Yeah.
All the Gurus said that.
Yeah, I can hear my mum telling me to come down for an Ambiyana. So is there anything, last word you want to say to
I just want to thank you for inviting me. Sorry for my technical difficulties. I'll try not to have them again.
But I forgot to apologize oh my God, look how selfish I am. I forgot to apologize for 2 weeks ago because we were supposed to do the show 2 weeks ago and had a last minute family situation where my brother normally does all the errands here, but he had to go work. And so it's like, you got to do it. And I didn't get home until 10.
This is one of my non-Gurdwara days. So
yeah. So I apologize because I forgot to apologize in the beginning because that was a lot. Normally I know what I'm doing. My routine's very set. But that day it was just an off chance that my brother couldn't do something and then I had to do it, unfortunately. So I just want to say, thank you so much for turning up. Big up to your, we'll say big up in the UK. I'll just say thank you to your husband for helping. The Buddhists did jump on. One was chased off, unfortunately, Generalist. Which
we'll get her back.
Yeah, we'll get her back. And the dogs as well. We love the dogs as well. And I just want to say to everybody, I just want to say to yourself, thank you for turning up. And I really appreciate if you could come back. I think a lot of people are learning a lot from your journey and what you got to say. And, even myself, when I'm listening, I am listening. Some people say I'm not listening. I am listening. When I listen, I look kind of like I'm stoned. Yeah, I'm not. I'm listening. Yeah. I just want to say, thank you again. And hopefully somebody might have learned or got help from what, Auntie G is saying. Anything you want to say, your last thing to the Sangat, or is that it?
No. Waheguru Ji Ka Khasa.
Waheguru Ji Ka Fateh. Yeah, so I'm going to be putting Auntie. I don't like doing it. For some reason, I feel very bad here putting Auntie G in the back check because now I see her sitting down here, still watching, yeah. And so I have to. I feel it's like a bit disrespectful when you get like a Granti or a Gyenli and you put them in the back chat, yeah. I just want to say thanks for everybody, listening. Obviously, when we do the religious shows, people don't want to listen, so there's lower viewers. That's not the point of the shows. It's better to get through to one person than 100 person. We know drama sells. So when I'm doing the drama shows, everyone loves it and they want to thingy. So, we should remember, I do want to say something serious show. I know I joke a lot, but when it comes to mental health and stuff and depression, I do believe it's one of the most important issues affecting people today. And it's got worse because of materialism and just the social media and how people are now seeing other people living their lives through the screens, not realizing that these people living their lives through the screen, that's not their reality either. You have to start remembering this is all sort of like a matrix in a way that, people are in this matrix and they're seeing things that, and when they see somebody else living the higher life, they're getting jealous, and that jealousy is bringing them down. Yeah, it's not doing anything. The person who's living their life and having a good time is still having a good life. Your jealousy is only destroying yourself. Yeah, it's only destroying yourself. So, like I said, for myself, some people may say that, me living a life as an artist, a poor artist, and all of this kind of stuff is miserable. To you, it's miserable. To me, I'm happy. Yeah. Happiness is subjective, basically. So, and if you need any help or anything, I'd recommend going to Mind. Mind in the UK, I'm not sure about in the USA, is basically an organization that is free. It takes around 3 months, but I would recommend to any men, especially because women tend to be able to talk to other women, that going to Mind and a counselor, that is very beneficial. This is coming from somebody that was the biggest skeptic. When people used to talk about counselors, I would say that's stupid. Why would I want to talk to some random person? But I've been somebody that's seen the light, and I did it 3 times, and I would say it did change my life for the better, and it allowed me to kind of like, get things out of my system to somebody I didn't know, and those people can then not judge you because you never see them again. I've not seen them again. I spoke to them, told them everything, and I've not seen them again. It's been 8 years. It's not all of a sudden you're going to bump into them down the road, Oh, you did my counseling, did you? Oh, all right. I'm a little bit embarrassed. I told you about, what happened when I was like 8 years old, I hope you don't tell anyone in the local shop. Now, they're normally brought from a different area, so you don't ever bump into them. And if I did, I'd probably put my headphones on and just walk past like I never saw them. So, yeah, ignore them. It never happened. They'll just look at them in the eye. They're like, we know everything about you, and I'll walk off. Anyway, big up to Blah Blah, everybody. Big up to Jen Wallace. Obviously, Jen Wallace, don't take it personally. The last time Flexi spoke to you, you was a bit of a nut job. No offense. Yeah, your some of the things you were saying were a little bit crazy, and I was annoyed with you as well at that time. But Flexi doesn't realize, because he's been out of the scene, that me and Jen Wallace have resolved things. We're both on a kind of a better thingy, so hopefully I'll speak to Flexi. I should have warned him that we've resolved things and stuff. So big up to Jen Wallace. Go to a show tomorrow. I might replay that bit when you got chucked off, just for a giggle on my other show. And Jen Wallace, I'll speak to you tomorrow. And big up to Auntie and everybody, and take care. I'm off to watch Rambiana with the family. Take care. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ka